Steve, I'm going to hit you with a hard mythological fact.
Oh, shit.
Centaurs have 2 rib cages. 2 rib cages.
Dude, I read about this and I thought about it.
Yeah, me too. I saw it in like a meme today and I was like, what in the fuck do you mean?
It has to be too, because like, what would there be ribs the whole way up? That's
Surely
not how a horse works. So,
what do you think about mermaids? Like, whenever you get into the mermaid tail, does that thing have like ribs and stuff too?
Or is it like fish bones where they're just like you got regular old dense human bones at the top and then fish bones at the bottom?
I know, inquiring minds want to know. Welcome, dead and lovely listeners, to the greatest horror movie review and mythological pondering podcast in all the known multiverse. Why, it's dead and lovely here with the host with the most. Why, it is I, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve.
Oh, shit. And we are here with you guys today to rap about a little John Carpenter flick called They Live, but not before we do a whole ton of bullshitting before it and talk about stuff we've been watching and stuff like that. And
but I'm going to break you up with a preview of the rap. Yeah. Well, my name is They Live, and I'm here to say
it's good.
It's fun to rap in a people or aliens way.
Yeah, you got it. It's really good.
Yeah.
How you been doing this week, Hollywood Steve?
I've been doing good. I mean, it's not been a week since we recorded.
No, it has not. We went from famine to feast. We had a 10-day podcast hiatus, and now we're trying to get caught up. I've got myself some traveling and stuff coming up.
We got some stuff.
We're trying to build up a nice little backlog so we can just rest on our laurels and vacation like some Magnum vacationers. Yeah. So we just recorded, 2 days ago?
Yeah, we recorded the Dead Alive episode a couple days ago. Yeah. Now we're recording this, and then we'll be recording Alien in a couple days. So whenever you ask me what I've seen in the week for the Alien episode, it'll probably be like, I saw a commercial.
I saw a dog today.
I saw a dog today.
Yeah, it's not been that long since we got together and casted a pod, so I gotta tell you, Steve, I've actually not really watched that much stuff since then either.
I haven't really either,
But I'm gonna tell you about my newest obsession.
Let's hear it.
I've not been watching really a lot of shows or movies or anything like that. I have become obsessed with super late at night, when it's like, I've been working all day or editing video or whatever, and I just need about 30 minutes or so just to chill on the couch, have a drink before I go to bed, right?
Yeah. I
go on these sprees of watching bartender videos.
Okay, we're like cocktail making videos? Yeah, I'm a big fan of those. Like, what channels do you like?
So the guy that I've really started watching a lot, and I've talked with him several times on Instagram and stuff, it's this Australian cat named Steve the Bartender.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Yeah, he just rolled over like 100,000 subs. He's doing well for himself. Okay. He's a big, tall, handsome guy with cool Australian accent. And he just mixes up all kinds of classic cocktails, and he has good production values and nice music and stuff. Seems to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I enjoy his content quite thoroughly. There's some other cocktail guys that are obnoxious as fuck that I don't like.
Have you seen Cocktail Chemistry?
Cocktail Chemistry. Which one's that? I don't know if I've seen that. That sounds familiar.
Wait, do you know Binging with Babish?
Yes.
Okay, Cocktail Chemistry is kind of like Binging with Babish.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like you just see the hands and the voiceover. That guy's good.
Okay.
He's really good.
Sounds
and there's
cool.
another channel called How to Drink.
I've been watching some of that
guy's
stuff
great too.
Yeah.
He's really funny.
Yeah, he's cool, and I like he kind of gives like the whole history of the drink and shows you like different variations. Like I watched.
He goes off on nerdy ass tangents too.
Yeah, and the like captions on screen are funny too.
Yeah.
I watched one the other night of him making the old fashioned, and it's kind of like the entire history of the old fashioned,
which is interesting as hell.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I like that it's not just here's how you make it. It's like, well, no, you're gonna sit down for about 20 or 30 minutes and learn where it came from, who first made it, and that's kind of
why
thing.
I love him. The reason I love the Cocktail Chemistry guy is because he talks about like why you have to combine certain things. Like he gets into the actual sort of chemistry of it,
right?
And talks about like why to use a specific type of ice or whatever.
So he's like the Alton Brown of cocktail stuff.
Not as Alton as you would want.
Okay, yeah.
Like you want more of that. Like just I'm gonna teach you something real quick.
Totally.
I would love to hear that. If there's a cocktail channel out there that does that, I'd love to see that.
Oh, no doubt. I would love to check that out. But I'll go through these sprees where I'll just sit down, I'll watch like 10 or 15 videos and be like, it's only like 30 minutes, time to go to bed. I really enjoy that. For some reason it's very relaxing. I'll tell you what though, there is one YouTube cocktail making channel that I think should exist.
What's that?
That's one by our very own notorious RDM Roger Dean Miller.
He really should start something.
I'm telling you, I've told him about it. People
handsome
that
dude, good personality,
good charisma.
Yeah, knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's fucking talking about. And makes some really mean-looking drinks.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those of you guys who don't know, he's a member of our Facebook group and just a good old friend of ours.
Yeah.
In fact, we got a beer that he gave us right here on the table that we're going to crack into later on.
And you know what? I was just thinking, we might as well go ahead and say this on the episode.
Yeah.
We haven't announced it yet on Facebook, though. By the time this comes out, you'll know about it. But we're having another fan meetup thing. Yeah.
Last one took place before a Skank Banger show, so I kind of had to ghost most of it and just kind of be like, hey, everybody, drop in, get a drink. Okay, I got to go get dressed now. Oh, it's sound check time now. So I didn't really get to, like, hang near as much as I really would have liked to.
So this time, we're doing it when you can hang.
Woo!
So Friday, August 16th.
Yeah.
We will be having a fan meetup downtown. I'll put all the details on the Facebook and other social media. But plan to be here, and if you want to, make it a whole weekend. The next night, there's a Skank Banger show.
Exactly right.
So if you want to come stay in Knoxville Friday, Saturday night, go for it, man. You'll get to hang out with us, have some drinks, see a Skank Banger show.
Be somebody, baby.
Be somebody.
Be somebody. That's going to be a good time. I look forward to getting just plumb shithouse drunk with our cool-ass fans. Yes. But yeah, for sure, Roger D. Miller, start that fucking YouTube channel.
Really,
man.
dude,
all these like annoying schmoes out there getting 100,000 views. He's a cool fucking guy.
Yeah, and like people already know about him. He's
famous. We're talking about him on our show.
Yeah, it's true.
Already famous. He was on like national TV
right
recently.
now a few thousand people hearing your name. They've heard it before.
Yeah.
That's true. They've heard it several times before. That's
Many
even
times.
better.
Yeah, you're embedded in the social zeitgeist by now, so might as well use it up.
Fucking awesome.
So I've been watching that stuff. We've been very slowly making our way through the new season of Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's new. It came out months ago, but it's just, God, it is a trudge.
Yeah,
it is a trudge.
I imagine. I can't even watch it because it's just like, this is too real. Yeah. I don't want to see this.
Yeah, if the world was running a little differently than it is, it would be more of like a fun, like, oh, what a
that
crazy.
Would be terrible if the world was like that.
Yeah,
but instead it's like,
this could happen.
This is happening.
Yeah, this is happening. Yeah. So it's been a little bit of a trudge. It's really good, but just I have to be in the right mood to watch that one. Yeah. But I will tell you this, Steve. One thing that's made me very happy this week, and it's almost one of those things where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even think about this until now. Just after I got back from that run of shows that I just played with Andy Wood and Seth Rosenblum, which, of course, took a bunch of work to learn all the tunes and practice and all that sort of thing, I just realized that this is the first time, probably since like last October, maybe, that I haven't had a list of like 50 songs I need to learn for a gig.
Holy shit.
It's the first time since then. Like this year
Finally
already.
Gonna come back around to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm not saying I'm gonna master it, but I'm gonna give it a swing.
Master Twinkle Twinkle
How
Little Star.
How can one?
What hubris?
Exactly. As if one can.
Nope.
But this is the first time where I've been able just to get in my car or take a walk or whatever and just listen to music that I want to.
Oh, okay.
Not because I have to like learn stuff. Dude,
not because it's work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it is middle of July. I have already learned well over 200 songs this year.
Yeah.
Just for gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's been a very intense year so far. So I got a little treat from the gods.
What was it?
I checked out my Spotify, and that's when I had the realization where I was like, I can just listen to whatever I want to.
Uh-huh.
And, they're really good about recommending you the right stuff that you should be listening to. Turns out a brand new album by one of my favorite rock and roll heavy metal bands, Torch, dropped this week.
Okay.
It's a little record called Admission. You ever listen to Torch before?
I haven't.
It's Torche. Sometimes people have called them Torche.
Torche.
Yeah, but I think I've heard them call it Torch.
Okay.
They describe themselves as a doom pop band.
Doom pop, I like this.
Yes.
I like the combo idea there.
They're awesome. So like the music is like really doomy and sludgy, and like they tune down really low, and the guitar's like really fuzzy and stuff, and it's very like Neanderthal music at times. But then it's all like super major key. There's no harsh vocals. It's all melodic, all singing. It's really weird because it sounds so huge and heavy, and yet also happy, but not like pop punk happy. You really got to listen to them. They're really fucking cool, and the new record is just fantastic. fantastic, man.
All right.
Really cool stuff. So hopefully some of our listeners will get a kick out of that one, because I know that I have. Yeah. Torch Admission.
Awesome.
They've got a lot of other good stuff too. Harmonicraft is a great album. Man, really, all of their stuff is just killer. I've been into that band for a really long time.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check them out.
What you been up to?
I watched a little movie.
Okay.
That I've been putting off because I've seen all of the Saw movies up to the most recent, Jigsaw.
The Jigsaw, yeah. I know nothing of it. I don't think I even know anybody who's seen it.
Okay. Well, you now know one person.
I know a person who's seen it, I can say.
Here's what I'll say about it. It is better than many of the other Saw movies in the franchise. Right. It's not... okay. We've covered the first on this movie.
Yeah.
And the first, of course, had Carrie Elwes, who's also in Stranger Things Season 3, man.
The day is mine! Although, I gotta admit, he
looks
look
different.
Really young.
It's because it's plastic surgery, for sure. Because he looked way too young.
But there is also that other actor that does look a lot like Carrie Elwes, and I thought that's who it was. Yeah.
So... the original Saw, as we recounted when we covered it, was done so quickly on such a low budget that it's amazing that it turned out as okay as it was.
Yeah, I mean, it is a feat in filmmaking. Right. It is.
Whereas Jigsaw had as much of a budget as they probably wanted.
I mean, gosh, that series has made fucking billions of dollars.
And instead of spending a lot of that money on, like, well-established actors, they got some... pretty established character actors who did an okay job, which is actually something I appreciate in a horror movie when you don't really know the people in the movie, so you can get more into like, that person might die.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
if it's a star, you're like, well,
they're gonna live.
They're gonna live at least to near the end. So I kind of liked that about it, and it had the same sort of twists and turns of the Saw series that actually is the reason why I don't like the Saw series. So you can't really blame Jigsaw for that.
Yeah, it kind of does what the series does.
Yeah, just doing what the series does.
Any good death or anything?
Yeah, good deaths
kills?
though.
Okay.
There were some good deaths in there and some good like choices, and I actually did feel like, because like that's some of the thing with some previous Saw installments is that like I don't feel like sometimes that I think the person deserves the death. It's like it's not that bad, but each one of the characters in this is like, all right, you fucking suck. You kind of deserve this, and I don't care that it happens to you. Great.
Kind of on Jigsaw's side with this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The major impediment to it is, of course, like, the Jigsaw's dead.
Yeah.
So it has to rely on, like, what it's done in the past, where it's showing you stuff from the past, but not telling you it's from the past. And then at the end, they reveal it's from the past. And it's like, oh, okay, so he is dead, but you were showing this stuff to us like, haha, you fucking idiots, you believed me.
Yeah, you're watching my movie?
Yeah.
What an idiot.
So, but that, again, that's a part of the Saw franchise.
Of the series, yeah.
So if you're into the Saw franchise, Jigsaw's, it's up there as
one
of the better ones, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you're not into the Saw franchise, there's no reason to watch it and critique it, I guess, because it's just not gonna be for you.
Well, it's probably kind of like, I've never really listened to Cannibal Corpse, but I don't know, maybe the new album will turn me into a fan.
Right.
Probably not.
Right. Like, if you were to listen to the new album, it's not gonna change the type of music it's always been. Like, Saw is not gonna suddenly become a different type of movie series. So, like, I don't know. Like, I've seen every one. I don't really like the series, but I feel like this responsibility towards this series that has so many installments to at least give it a shot.
Well, you've invested, you know, dozens of hours of your life into it by now.
Yeah.
Might as well keep it going. Do you have a favorite of the series, by the way?
That one's tough. I think the first one had the smaller cast, which was good.
Yeah.
Like, having a smaller cast seems to work for me, because the more people they add to the games, the more I'm like, this wouldn't fucking happen. Like, it wouldn't work this way. But I think the second one had a good twist to it. Like, the first one is more straightforward. There are some twists, like we learn things as it goes, but the second one has like a genuine, like, oh, what the fuck sort of twist to it.
I don't think I've seen the second one before.
Well, yeah, if you check out the second one, you might like it. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not great. Like, none of them are great, though, to me. It's just not my series. But the people that like them...
And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people
There
like
are,
them.
yeah. I don't see why they would complain about Jigsaw.
Okay, right on,
It's
man.
right up the alley of all the other ones.
All right. What else have you been up to? You been gaming or anything?
Yes,
anything
I have.
new going on in the video game world?
Yes, I have. I tried to play Street Fighter, as I said last episode.
Yes. Street Fighter 2, the OG, or
Street
Turbo,
Fighter
or what?
2 Turbo.
Yes, dude.
On the easiest level, I still fucking suck at it.
Who are you playing as?
Terrible. I was playing as Ryu because I know his moves.
Well, I mean, that should be,
yeah.
a pretty reliable choice.
The first person I originally beat it with as a teen, or tween probably, was E Honda.
Yeah, Edmund
Just
Honda.
spamming the slap thing.
Oh, yeah, 100-hand slap. Yeah. I definitely had, like, controllers with turbo on them back in the day. You remember turbo controllers?
You just hold it on.
Yeah, exactly. So all of the, like, rapid tap characters, like Chun-Li, Blanca, E Honda, like, you could just rip it up with them.
Yeah.
Just hold the button down and let it do the work for you.
I got frustrated with it, though, because I wasn't doing well. And then I was like, hey, I used to love Mario Tennis for Nintendo 64, so I fired that up.
Swing that thing around a little bit. How'd that treat you?
Great.
Yeah? I think I played it maybe once.
I mean, if you're not a tennis person, which I don't know much about tennis. I know how to play the game, and I like playing the game, but I don't sit and watch the game, so I couldn't really talk about it. But if you enjoy the concept of tennis, it's the perfect tennis game.
The concept of tennis.
Yeah, if you're like, oh yeah, knocking a ball back and forth, seeing who can get it past the other person, Mario Tennis is your game.
Dude.
Yeah.
And you're playing as all the various, like, Mario characters and stuff,
and
right?
they have, it's just
Attributes.
like in Mario Kart where they have their specific, like, this
Slow
person's
but
a
strong.
technician, this person's strong, this person's fast.
Fast but weak serve.
Right.
Stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I could get into that. I know what you mean, though, about those, like, idealized versions of otherwise uninteresting games. Like, did you ever play Hot Shots Golf for PlayStation?
No.
Dude, it was crazy addictive and fun. I had, like, a demo disc. Remember when you get demo discs in magazines?
In the magazine, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think it was like what game magazine was it? I can't remember. PlayStation
EGM.
Informer. Yeah, one of those. One of those. And it had a demo disc that had like a whole course from Hot Shots Golf on it, and just wore it the fuck out, man.
There's a Kirby. It's not exactly golf, but it's a golf game-ish, where you basically are trying to get Kirby into this hole and through a course. That was really fun.
I remember that, but I never played it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. Kirby something, blah, blah, blah.
Kirby games are always fun.
They were.
Nintendo knows how to make just a fun-ass simple game.
Take the principle of a game and to make it entertaining and fun.
Absolutely so, man. Well, I'll drink a cold one of that,
Let's
Steve.
do it.
Let's get ourselves a pull here. We got ourselves a bevy of just some tasty brews here today. This first one here I'm going to try. This isn't exactly a rare find, but I've never had it before, so I'm looking forward to trying it. This is a Sierra Nevada Summerfest. It promises to be a crisp lager.
Yeah, no, I've had this in the past. I don't know if they change it each year, because they do add, like, Summerfest whatever year. But in the past when I've had it, what I would call it is, like, the idealized version of Budweiser. Just like a real nice lager that, I don't know, it's refreshing, but not a lot of taste, not a lot of flavor.
I remember saying kind of the same thing about the, do you remember the Lagunitas Sake to Me?
Yes.
We drank that while we did Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, but that one's got like sweet notes to it.
Yeah.
But it is just like a real refreshing sort of thing.
Yeah, real crisp lager. This is a 5%er. There's something about a warm summer day that calls out for a cold glass of great beer, and this classic Czech-style lager is sure to fit the bill. Crisp, golden, and refreshing Summerfest is the perfect choice for soaking up the sunshine.
If you smell it, you're going to smell Budweiser or Pabst.
Okay, right on. Well, it just looks like a clear-ass yellow lager with a little bit of foam on top. Doesn't look like anything extraordinary.
Yeah.
But it performs as advertised?
Yeah, it's great.
Well, that'll do the job. We need this, too, because it is hot as hell
it is
out there.
It's even hot at night. It's the worst.
Yeah, that tastes like a tasty version of the regular American gas station beer.
Yeah, without like the sickly sweetness or any of that. Just like
It's drier.
refreshing. It's drier. More refreshing. Like, good stuff.
Yeah, I'm very okay with
I could
that.
imagine a 6-pack of this on the lake.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
It'd be a
say.
fun time.
For sure, man. That's a good outdoor drinker right there. Not too heavy, 5%, but at the same time, it's still...
Yeah, 5%'s more than Budweiser.
Yeah, it's more effective than a butt wiper. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Butt wiper.
That's the one.
That's A-okay. Sierra Nevada makes a pretty solid product.
They do, yeah. Torpedo is always solid. That tropical torpedo is really good. Hot Bullet's good.
That's really good, man.
Don't care for, is Hemperor, is that Sierra Nevada?
I can't remember if that's them or not.
It's real bad.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. I haven't really had any of those like hemp-oriented beers that I've liked.
Yeah,
like
they
the
all
Sierra
just taste
Nevada.
like bong water.
Yeah, they do, man. Like that fucking Sierra Nevada, was it G13 strain 420 or whatever it's called?
Is that Sweetwater?
Sweetwater, that's what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, that stuff is gross, man.
Yeah, it's real bad.
And if you're ever at a bar, if somebody orders one, like the entire bar just smells like weed.
Yep.
Straight up. They make like a mango variant that isn't really any better, and I think smells even more like
would
weed.
you like to lick an ashtray? Not really. What if I rub a mango through an ashtray?
I'm listening, but
I
no.
guess that's better.
Maybe that's better. Yeah, I haven't found one that I have liked personally, man. Yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a busy week, but we did find time to watch ourselves They Live by one of our favorite directors ever, John Carpenter. Dead and Lovely sure does love them a John Carpenter.
Yeah, man. I just watching this again, it reminded me that I think overall, considering entire body of work, John Carpenter is a top 3 director for me. I think so. Stanley Kubrick probably has a better body of work without really many that people would say are bad.
Yeah, total duds. You're saying as any director overall, not just horror.
Not just horror. Yeah, because I'm considering like Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China and like all the other stuff he's done.
Right.
I mean, we'll talk about why his career went the way it went, but like if you just consider everything up to In the Mouth of Madness, there's really only a couple of duds. Unless you're Kev Bickerdike out there.
Talking shit about Kev Bickerdike.
Yeah, because he's not a big fan of some of our favorites, In the Mouth of Madness and They Live.
I mean,
but he is a big fan of Prince of Darkness, which I also agree is a goddamn treasure.
Still ain't seen it.
Man, I can't wait till we do it.
Man. Me too.
It's possible it could come up next month because it's in the drawing.
The drawing.
Yeah.
Nice, man. It seems like something I would really like.
Yes, it's like
quantum
super
physics
weird.
And the devil?
Yeah,
Count
super weird. Quantum physics and the devil. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And this movie stars none other than one Hot Rod.
Roddy Piper.
Rowdy Piper.
What a ballsy casting move, right?
I know. What a motherfucker. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, man. R.I.P. RRP.
What's that?
Roddy Piper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there were like more rests in peace in there.
rest
in peace. Rest peace. All right. I guess I will.
And dude, growing up as two Southern dudes, in the 80s,
we know us some pro wrestling.
It was impossible to avoid his presence on the television. And you know, of course, back in the day when we were watching wrestling when we were kids, it was really only 30% the actual athletics in the wrestling. Right. It was 70% the shit talk.
Yep.
It was all about the shit talk. I feel like the tables have really turned with modern wrestling, where it's like you got guys that are doing stuff in the ring.
You got to be able to do both, basically.
Yeah. But I feel like nobody's really got the shit talk at the level that they did back in the day.
No, nobody.
But the matches are more fun.
There's one person I would maybe say who's the closest to best at shit talk and technically proficient in the ring, and we'll get to him.
We'll get to him because what we're gonna do here before we start reviewing the movie is we're gonna slide on into the Purview Parlors.
Welcome to the Purview Parlors.
And we're gonna give you guys a rundown on our absolute favorite shit-talkingest wrestlers of all time. You know, again, like I said, you grow up in the South, you're gonna watch some wrestling, and I did love to watch some wrestling. And man, the presence of Roddy Piper, on TV when he started talking some shit,
man,
it always made me nervous.
One
as a
of the
kid.
best.
It made me nervous because the thing is like, you know, as conservative and stuff as I grew up and considered my brother and I had a
where's
penchant.
This gonna go?
It was that, dude. And we had this penchant for horseplay, and like, you know, my brother broke my arm because we were wrestling on the bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always kind of felt like I'm just one, like, you know, one hard F-bomb or something away from losing the privilege to watch wrestling as a kid. So every time Rowdy would show up and he'd be wearing that kilt and that t-shirt and just be getting fired up, I would be like, oh my God, don't cuss. Please don't. Yeah.
Please don't.
Please don't say anything awful.
The devil will take my soul.
I remember especially during that big feud he had with the Mountie. You remember him and the Mountie had a big feud?
Yeah, he won the Intercontinental Championship from the Mountie.
That's right. That's right, man. He had that shock-proof T-shirt. The Mountie, he'd zap you with that cattle prod kind of thing.
Obviously not a cattle prod.
Yeah. It was really just like a magician's wand, I think. He just kind of jabbed you with.
They were like, just jab people, and they'll be like, oh, no.
Yeah, but dude, Rowdy had some just incredible shit-talking skills back in the day, did he not?
He really fucking did. And, I mean, he had an entire segment in the WWF that was just dedicated to him shit-talking other wrestlers. Piper's Pit.
Piper's Pit, that's right.
He would bring them in and shit-talk them to their face. God damn it.
He really took the bull by the horns and just addressed the issues right on the nose like that, man. Sooner or later, everybody pays the piper.
That's right.
What a fucking badass. Yes. And there's so many great quotes here from Rowdy Piper. I found one where he said, "You'll find sympathy in the dictionary between shit and suicide." Which is so hard ass and also non-alphabetically correct.
True.
SY should come after
it would come after SU.
But the meaning is clear.
The meaning's very clear.
The meaning is extremely clear, man.
Way to go, Rowdy Piper.
He said he's the reason Hulk Hogan lost his hair.
I mean, other than the steroids and other things. But yeah, probably.
What did he die of?
He had a heart attack due to, what do you call it? The thing in your lung? Pulmonary embolism.
Oh, that's what got him,
yes.
Huh? That sucks, man. So there's kind of no way to really know that it was coming or whatever.
Well, okay. We'll get a little bit into this before we exit the preview palace.
Yeah.
But he actually predicted that he would die before 65 in an interview in 2003 because he was already in such poor health. So his health had declined a lot.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're seeing with so many of our favorite wrestlers from when we were kids. They ain't many of them left. I mean, there's Hogan. Flair is still with us.
The people that actually made money were able to keep themselves afloat. But a lot of those guys, they were making shit while Vince McMahon was making millions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were sacrificing their bodies for our entertainment.
And being entertaining. So, what are some of your favorite shit talkers, man?
Dude, let's start off with the guy.
Some of your favorite shit talkers?
What are shit talkers? When are your favorite?
When are they?
Let's go ahead and just pull this right back to maybe the guy who very well could have invented the shit talk game and mastered it with really no previous model. I'm talking about one Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair.
That's the one, man.
I mean, dude, you want to talk about the king of shit talk. I'm Ric Flair, the style profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing son of a gun.
That's him.
That's what he said.
I can't keep these gators down.
Oh, man, with those alligator shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And that lisp he had, too. It made everything just so extremely comical. Yeah. I loved it.
Well, and that's the thing that he and Flair really were able to share, that they could play dirty and also, be this sort of comical entertainer where, Flair would get hit and then, walk out of the ring and walk halfway up the ramp and fall flat on his face.
Oh, dude, his lung cells and stuff where it's isn't he gonna fall down? And he just walks a few steps and then bam, face down, come up just bleeding, that white hair just turning pink.
They were fucking real entertainers, and what they were trying to do was get people on their feet. Neither one of them, I think Roddy Piper was technically proficient at wrestling. He was an amateur wrestler and an amateur boxer. He knew what he was doing in the ring.
Boxer, didn't know that.
Yeah, but Ric Flair really gets by on his personality.
Absolutely.
He's just an old school wrestler, real simple move set, mostly trying to sell the other guy and make himself the big bad heel, and then win by cheating. That's why he and Roddy Piper were so beloved, because it was just like, well, you can hate them all you want, but that's what they're going to keep doing.
Yeah, totally. Well, there's something too about just him coming out and being just so cocky and wearing like, remember he'd wear those like kind of bathrobe like robes with the pink boas and all this shit that just pissed you off just to look at.
He stole that from the guys who would play like the effeminate character. That was that was like a big thing. Gold Dust was like
the modern version,
the biggest version of it. But like the gay character was like a big thing, especially touring the middle of the country in the South.
Wow.
That like if you really wanted to be a heel, just come out in some pink and run a comb through your hair.
Wow!
And everybody would be like, "Look at this fancy boy! I hate him."
Fancy boy.
Yeah.
So he took that from them, and he was like, "This will instantly piss people off."
Yeah, and he took it and made it though like, no, fuck you! Like I'll wear pinker, I'll wear bigger. I don't give a shit.
Dude.
Like he was more like not just the fancy boy, just like I'm the fancy boy who'll steal your wife, like,
and just talked shit about how he was so much richer than everybody else and stuff. Yeah. There's that one, I can't remember who he was talking about, but he said, "I've spent more money on spilt liquor than he's made an entire year."
Yes.
Spent more money on spilt liquor.
That's amazing.
I love it, man. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, his entire game, like, he really set the bar of shit talk at just a kind of unmanageable level.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is, real interesting. This is just a quote from Ric Flair, who inducted Roddy Piper into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. And he said, the most gifted entertainer in the history of professional wrestling. Ric Flair thought Roddy Piper was better than him.
No shit.
Yeah. So
wow,
we're talking about the man, and he sees Roddy Piper as the man. So that's pretty fucking crazy to me,
man. And I'm so glad we still have Flair with us.
Man, he had that.
We had a scare recently. Yeah. We had a scare with Flair. A Flair scare.
Scare. Yeah.
But we still got him with us, man.
Somebody along the line of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And he really takes his personality from his actual personality. Is a man named Vince McMahon.
A Vince McMahon. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Now, as a kid, we just knew him as kind of the guy that sort of ran the show.
He was just like the ringleader, where it was just like, look at all these cool things I can show you. He had no personality beyond that. Like he did announcing early on, but he would be the straight man.
Right.
And then everyone else, like Gorilla Monsoon or Jesse Ventura, they would be the,
Oh man, yeah, those two guys.
But he'd just be like, the straight man in between.
And then somewhere along the course of his career,
it was the DX, the introduction of DX. They had to have a villain that they were fighting against once WCW was gone. So it became, well, we got to fight the man.
Well, and that's the thing that's so brilliant about making him the heel is like, ultimately, considering so many people that watch wrestling are like blue collar working guys and stuff like that, what a great idea to make the biggest bad the man that owns the whole operation. Right. And then for him just to come out too, and just this personality just starts getting meaner and more crass and awful. And his voice got more gravelly and all that stuff. And that walk, he started doing that walk where it's just like deboned.
Nobody walks like that, but he's just like all this fucking shoulders, like, here, take this.
Just boneless, man. Just fucking boneless.
And he's working off of like Ted DiBiase.
Definitely.
The $1 Million Man.
Everybody's got a price.
Right. Like I watched some Ted DiBiase stuff just to prepare for this list, and I forgot the shit he did, like where they would do stuff where he brought out a young boy and said, if you can dribble this ball like 15 times, I'll give you $100, and on the 14th time he kicked the ball. And I
remember that.
I think like if they did that now, I bet that kid would still get the money. I bet back then they were just like, no, fuck off, kid.
Probably.
Yeah, like
yeah, he was so coked up. He's like, I mean this.
Yeah,
get the fuck out.
Get out of here.
Ted DiBiase made me so mad when I was a kid, man.
But like, apparently the sweetest guy in the world. I don't know if you've seen like the Razor Ramon documentary where it's like,
oh yes, he is in that.
He's in that. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Ted DiBiase, he's like a preacher in Alabama. That doesn't mean he's the sweetest guy in the world, because
yeah.
a preacher in Alabama might fucking be a Roy Moore supporter.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he did seem to come off as genuine.
Was it you that told me the story about when Vince McMahon came up with the character of $1 Million Man? Oh, I thought it was maybe you that told me this.
No.
We must have been talking about it while we were on the road last week, I guess. Basically, Vince McMahon is the guy that came up with the character of $1 Million Man.
Okay.
Because Vince McMahon was flying on a jet somewhere. This would have been like in the early 80s or something.
Right.
And there was somebody right behind him on this flight that was just chain smoking, just smoking up a storm.
Right.
Vince McMahon apparently cannot stand being around smoke. He hates being around smoke.
I get that.
Yeah, especially on an airplane. You're just recycling.
That's disgusting.
Dude, I never flew when they allowed smoking on airplanes.
I didn't either.
I can't imagine how revolting that shit was. Awful.
Yeah.
So basically, Vince McMahon just got completely sick of this guy, sitting behind him smoking, and he turns around, and I want to say the sum was like, he's like, I will pay you $500 out of my pocket right now to stop smoking on this flight.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy did it. It might have just been 100 or it was 500 or something like this, right? But basically, he paid this guy off, and he quit smoking. And he said he returned back to the seat, and he sat down, and he thought, everybody has a price.
Yep.
And that was the inception of Ted DiBiase's character.
And the central conceit of this movie.
Yes, absolutely so.
I mean, again, like, this was when you texted me this idea for the intro, I just realized how perfect it was, because, like, so much of what makes professional wrestling is actually what makes capitalism and our politics run. Like, they work off the same shit.
Right.
Like, it's all misdirection and enraging and inflaming people about the wrong thing, keeping people's attention on the wrong thing.
The art of diversion, the sleight of hand, man. Yeah. I'm punching him in the face, but I'm actually stomping on the ring to make a big noise.
Exactly. Vince McMahon, he's the epicenter of that.
He's got some quotes here. How about this one?
Let's hear them.
I have balls the size of grapefruits, and come this Sunday, you'll be spitting out the seeds. What? I mean, what does that even mean? But the great thing about Vince McMahon, too, is he would talk so much shit, not just to the other wrestlers, but about the fans.
Yeah,
like, about the people that bought tickets.
Because he could be the ultimate villain, where it was just like, yeah, you can hate me because you're giving me your money. I don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm the one running the show that you're here to see. So even when you buy a ticket and you hate my guts, you're still giving me your money.
The more upset you are, the more likely you are to come here to boo me.
Yeah.
Good.
He had a quote where he said, I don't give a damn what the fans think, because frankly, I know what the fans want better than they do.
And he's right.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, yeah. Because a lot of the things that the fans think they want and want to see, they just won't turn out the way fans want it. Like, it's just not going to be interesting. Yeah. That's why you put off the Ultimate Warrior Hogan match. Because Ultimate Warrior's not good, and Hogan's not good in the ring. You don't want the match, you want the lead up.
Exactly. Which is going to be way better than the match, especially in the case of those two. But yeah, he had just such a way of being so demeaning and so degrading. Vince McMahon would come down on anybody and everybody. And also, he got like jacked when he was like 55 or 60, just huge.
I'm sure that was steroids, though. I'll be honest with you, if somebody's using steroids, first off, I've already said before, they should have just a steroid league. Like, I don't give a shit.
Mutant League Wrestling.
Just have a league where it's like, you take whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like, as a private citizen not doing anything athletic, I don't give a shit if you do steroids, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Like, and he wasn't wrestling at the time. Like, whatever. He got big. I don't know how that helps you. As a 50, 60-year-old man, getting bigger is going to be bad on your heart. But all right.
I should imagine. Well, the thing is, though, too, is, just because you're taking steroids, it doesn't make you get fit.
Right. You have to do all the work still. You just are more motivated to do it. And
your
more
muscles
likely
repair
to build
faster.
Yeah.
And so you can do more work. But it's like Vince McMahon at age 55, 60,
he went to the gym and got that big,
I mean, my God, he had to work his damn ass off.
He did, yeah.
So, yeah, great shit talker.
Awesome.
The man on
just
top.
Amazing.
Who else you got on your shit list, Steve?
All right. Now, I just want people to know that we're not only picking, like, 90s era attitude people, because we did do Ric Flair and then with Vince McMahon, and now I'm going to go The Rock.
Yes.
But
yes, dude.
The Rock. I think he got better as he aged. Like early on, he was great with the, if you
Nation
smell what the Rock's
stuff.
cooking and nobody cares, or it doesn't matter what your
It
name is.
doesn't matter what your name is. Oh, dude, I love that shit. What was your name? And he like get like real quiet and real intimate with him. It doesn't matter. Oh, so good, man.
Yeah, like all that stuff was real good, but he got much more entertaining as he got more into acting, and he realized like, oh, I can just throw myself into this and just be like, after he did Scorpion King, he did this one thing where I don't even remember. I think he was talking about Billy Gunn.
B.A. Billy Gunn.
Yeah, and he was doing this thing where he was like doing a pretend prayer, Billy Gunn to God.
Oh,
and
no.
I actually got to the point where God was like, all right, Bob. And he was like, it's Billy. And God was like, it doesn't matter what your name is. Like, he just got more entertaining as he became freer as an actor and realized that, like, oh, like, yeah, I can be a big ass dude, but also be goofy.
Dude, and he absolutely sold it.
Yeah,
absolutely
he's great.
sold it. All that stuff where it's like, even, when you do you smell what the Rock's cooking, and he would drag it out, and
yeah,
crowd just went nuts. That fucking eyebrow, his physicality was shit talk. But that was the thing about him. He'd do those big sniffs. He'd do that eyebrow raise and shit. He could talk shit without even opening his mouth.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
and also fantastic fucking wrestler.
So good.
Fantastic
man.
performer.
He's great. He's just great in general. Love that guy.
Hey, man.
Like, he seems to be a genuinely good guy.
I'd like to have a t-shirt that says, I'm still not tired of The Rock.
Yeah. I think it would be a popular t-shirt as well.
I'm still not tired of him.
Not tired of him, no.
I know. He's funny. He's awesome. Seems like an actually nice guy. I was actually trying to find some good like shit talk quotes from him.
His are like, it's like, you got to know the moment. Like you do. It's hard to find a real like a quip for him.
Well, the thing that I had trouble with is usually, what I found is like if you just Google The Rock quotes, most of them are like 30 inspirational quotes from The Rock.
Oh, right, because
it's like really like positive.
He's,
like,
he's a super positive dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I couldn't really find a lot of good shit talk stuff.
Like if The Rock and Terry Crews were in a movie.
Oh man,
the movie might explode.
You would be motivated as all hell. That is for sure, man. Oh, but he was so great. He was so great, man.
So fun. And like some of the other people on this list that I have are from that same era, because that was, I think, one of the best eras for shit talk. Because like a lot of the early 80s stuff, it was about physique. It was about being big. And there weren't a lot of great guys. But in the 90s, it was really about character. And
Absolutely so.
Stone Cold set that off.
Oh my God, dude.
Stone Cold really like hit that moment and just said like, because he was already good on the mic when he was Stunning Steve.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch some of his WCW stuff, he was funny and good on the mic. But when he just took that, I'm just gonna be the fuck it guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be the ultimate, like I don't give a shit about any of this guy, and just like I mean his immediate introduction as the real Stone Cold was beating a guy whose gimmick was being a Christian.
Oh my God,
and
dude.
making fun of him and people going, yes!
I know, which is so weird considering that it's like you're talking about the place where most of the fans of wrestling are like Bible Belt Southerners.
Yeah.
And this guy comes out and he says, you could talk about your Psalms and your John 3:16. Well, Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass.
Yeah.
Like that should send him towards the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, that should make him a heel. And that's kind of what they started doing with him, was trying to make him this heel, but like he was getting pops. People were loving it.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, fuck, let's lean into it. He can be the guy who says really like crazy shit, but also everybody's just on his side no matter what.
And he's just a trashy, mean stepdad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like the guy who would bully you, probably.
Yeah. It's like there was enough that I think where it's like everybody could relate to this guy, and a lot of people also like wished they could be as hard ass as him at the same time. And then also great in the ring, one of the best finishers ever. Stone Cold Stunner. I think it come out of nowhere. The sound of the glass breaking, you just knew, oh, dude, and it could happen at any time.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold became this omnipresent figure where it's like he could just show up for absolutely no reason.
That's true. It just like he'd be the referee at like what was it? Was it HBK and no, that was where Mike Tyson was the guest referee.
Oh God, I forgot about that match. Yeah,
but yeah, like he'd be the referee, and it's just like he's gonna do something, but like he doesn't even have to. Like if he doesn't end up interfering in the match at all, you're still like, fuck, Stone Cold's the most entertaining thing in the ring right now.
Yeah,
like, gotta pay attention to him.
And Guy could just talk shit, man.
He still can.
Oh my God,
Listen to his podcast.
Is great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's absolutely fantastic.
He's so awesome.
But dude, I'm serious. Like there for a period in the mid late 90s when he started really blowing up, it's like you couldn't go anywhere and not hear somebody say, I'm gonna open up a can of whoop ass on you.
That's actually, I don't know. It's still popular to the point that Lipton Tea has a can of whoop ass.
No.
Yeah. And it's like a cross promotion with the new Fast and the Furious Hobbs and Shaw.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. I mean, that right there, that all those words I just said were the late 90s. When it just like,
yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw, like the Fast and the Furious, they've like really captured what was great about the late 90s. And Hobbs and Shaw seems to be like the most ridiculous that it could get.
I want to see it. I'm not even gonna lie.
Like,
I want to see it.
I mean, come on. Like, have you seen all the trailers?
Yes.
Like, it's just like, what is this?
It looks utterly ridiculous, dude.
Insane.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold says so.
Yeah, and everybody repeats it,
dude. And him saying what? What? And you hear the whole crowd go, what?
Yeah.
Before he'd say it. It's like everybody knew what he was gonna say, but they couldn't wait for him to say it.
Yeah.
There was something electrifying about what a badass that guy was.
I know, man.
Because he was also really one of the first guys where it became like the bad guy becomes the guy that everybody likes. I mean, it's like when people started really realizing Freddy Krueger is the hero of the movie. Jason's the reason people come to the show.
Yeah,
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold is that. Yeah, he is the Freddy and the Jason where people just want to see this person rip shit and not care about anything.
Oh man, he was truly legendary, easily in probably the top 3 like shit talkers of all time.
Yeah. Now the person though that brought us back, because like after Stone Cold, there really was a villain problem where it was like, well, how do we make villains now?
Yeah, exactly. Because the villains can be the good guys now. So what do we do?
So what you do is you get Chris Jericho from the WCW.
Yeah.
Because Chris Jericho can irritate anybody.
Oh my God, dude.
He's so fucking good at finding out how to irritate people, but half the crowd is still on his side.
Yeah.
Half the crowd is still like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like when he was listing off all of his ridiculous moves he was going to pull on people. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Check that out sometime, because like I
love it already.
He had like 1,001 moves, he said. And like all of them were insane, ridiculous moves, and he just list them off. He would basically just find the most popular person and annoy them. Like that's really
that
what
was his game.
His game was, but like he found a way to annoy them that was not just like, I'm annoying, where it was just like really get under your skin annoying. Just like, fucking shit, why are you wearing a scarf?
Yeah, or
do you remember the scarf
period? The scarf, or when he had like that little palm tree of hair.
Yes.
He'd put like just a tiny bit of hair in the front and put it up with like a hairband, just this little palm tree of hair.
And all that was just like, get, like, so that the other, because
just
like,
to be a little rock in your shoe. Yeah. It's just to fucking annoy you. It's the piece of sand that you got on that shrimp where you just crunch on it and it just drives you crazy. You know?
Because like some guys, I'll talk about a few of them in a second. Some guys will use like real personal shit. Because like if you want to have a real good match with some wrestlers, you need them to be pissed.
Yeah.
So like Jericho knew how to just like irritate, which like if you can irritate, like there's some wrestlers who are going to wrestle better mad, but all of them are going to wrestle better irritated because they actually do kind of want to hurt the other guy.
Totally.
So they're going to put a lot more into it. And that's what Jericho is always a master at, is just dragging out the best out of the other wrestler.
And also great in the ring. Not just a big shit talk game.
He was always great
in the ring. Great podcast too.
Great podcast as
great.
Well, yeah.
Fozzy, awesome, ridiculous
big fan
band.
of Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, that's right. Sleepaway Camp 2, apparently his favorite.
Yeah.
I think that's questionable, but I'll allow it.
That is a questionable choice.
I'll allow it. I
fine.
respect his honesty. He seems like a genuine, cool fucking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good dude. He could talk a good line of shit. But don't you think that he learned it from one of the best of all time? One of the guys that was back there with Flair and Hogan and all these other guys crafting our childhoods.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a Macho Randy Savage Man.
Yes.
Macho Savage Man Randy.
He does have the same sort of mind as Macho Man Randy Savage, where everything he did was like he knew what he was going to do, but you didn't know he was going to do it.
Yeah.
Like Macho Man would sound crazy, but he had planned everything he was going to say ahead of time, and it was like perfectly planned.
Right.
He put the period in as he spoke.
I'm the tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit, and space is the place. Like, what does that mean? I don't know, but I think I back it. I think I'm behind it.
That's what he always was just the guy that, like, mystified you as you're listening to him. Like, I want to hear everything he has to say. I don't know what it means.
But he seems to know what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
Hulkamania is like a single grain of sand in the Sahara Desert. That is macho madness.
Macho madness.
Macho madness. Here's one that I can't quite figure out. I want to run this by
hear
it. You will eat my rear rockets and like it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Eat my rear rockets.
Turds.
Okay.
Rear rockets.
Okay, I didn't know if there's anything more to that one. I guess that is what he was getting at.
That was pre-Attitude Era where you had to not say shit and piss and whatnot.
Oh, man, dude. He was just ridiculous, dude.
He really was. Now, we have to, when we talk about him, we have to talk about, if he's Sonic, Ultimate Warrior is Shadow. Like, Ultimate Warrior is like he's the Negaduck to Macho Man's Darkwing Duck.
Whoa, you just brought in some deep cuts.
Ultimate Warrior he's got the same intensity,
direction
as Macho Man with literally zero direction, and he had the exact opposite problem of Macho Man, where Macho Man could say anything and everybody was hanging on every word. Ultimate Warrior said 2 words, and you're like, those don't go together.
Yeah, you're right. I'm lost.
What is happening?
You've already lost me. Are you saying you don't understand what he means when he says, dig your claws into my organs, stretch into my tendons, bury your anchors into my bones, for the power of the warrior will always prevail?
And the fun part was the way he would have said that.
Oh.
Dig your claws into my organs.
Dude, he'd go high and low. The dynamics
all
were
over
just...
the place.
Oh. Nightmares are the best part of my day. Nightmares are the best part of my day. I can't even tell you how much I love that quote, man.
Fuck?
Because his whole game was as if he wasn't human. Like he was from some warrior race of aliens or something.
Yeah, he was like just out of this planet.
Oh my God.
Or
dude.
at least like that's what we thought the story was. Maybe that was the truth. And they were just like, fuck it. We don't have to pretend with this guy. He showed up with those streamers tied around his biceps.
Oh, man. Somebody put out a tweet a long time ago that said, Ultimate Warrior dressed up like a girl's bike from the 90s. Yep. And I was like, oh, my God. All like pink and green and white and streamers and... Basically a girl bike.
Yep, basically.
And then in real life talked a lot of shit about gay people and stuff. Not a good guy.
Yeah, not a good person.
Not a good person. But he did say, should I jump off the tallest building in the world? Should I lay on the lawn and let it run over me with lawnmowers? Should I go to Africa and let it trample me with raging elephants? Which means something.
What could that mean?
The family that I live for only breathes the air that smells of combat.
All right, I think we need to start wrapping up because we've talked way too much about wrestling, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a little bit.
One more UW quote. One more. I got one more.
Let's hear it.
Lodged in my skull was a piece of the crystal of your kingdom, your madness, they said. But warrior, it's lodged inside your skull. And I said, sew it in. Leave it where it lays. Dude, like, I just remember watching those promos and just being so lost.
Yeah.
Also, I loved UW when I was a kid.
Yeah, of course. Like, he was the man, right?
Oh, my God. Okay, sorry. I'll lay off the UW quotes now. I just had that one more. So, you were talking about some guys earlier that really would maybe get a little too personal.
Yeah, you could basically say anybody in the Clique in the early 90s. The Clique was Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
Oh, yeah. Razor Ramon,
Yeah.
a former great shit talker.
HBK and Triple H.
Just a lot of hard
Yeah,
asses.
the big dudes.
Yeah,
Like,
HBK also could talk a mad line of shit.
yes, he could. And those guys, they would bring out like backstage shit.
Yeah?
Like they would bring in real shit into their shit talk. Somebody else who did that though, who was probably one of the best at it because he's insane, is Scott Steiner.
Oh my God, Scott Steiner's a lunatic. He's one of those guys where it's like, that's why people shouldn't do steroids.
Right.
Because you'll lose your mind. And your dick don't work.
Yes. And he was basically the ultimate warrior, but instead of saying crazy shit about crystals and skulls, he was saying shit about people's girlfriends and stuff. Like, not like their proclaimed girlfriend on the show, their actual girlfriend in real life.
God,
like,
dude.
He would talk mad shit because because the Steiner brothers, they didn't talk. Like, at all. Totally. It was just like they'd come out, dominate, and leave, and that was like the Scott and Rick,
right?
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, yeah.
Rick would bark.
Right, yeah, he would bark. That's right. That's
Yeah.
Steiner liner, Frankensteiner, all that stuff. Good
Their
stuff.
whole thing was just like, we win and we leave. We're the best. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But then when he became his own guy and also hit the steroids like crazy.
Oh my God, did he ever?
Yeah, he really just started becoming this loose cannon of just like, they didn't know what to do with him in the WCW because they didn't know what he was going to do when they sent him out there.
Wow.
TNA was the same. He was at TNA for a while. Like, and I would say early, it always happened. Mm-hmm. Early on, even they would, bring in real life stuff, but it would be a bit more respectful where it was like, wink, wink. I'm saying this because of the crowd. Whereas with Scott Steiner, it was like, he probably is just saying this because he wants to piss that guy off. Like, he really wants him to be mad. Mostly because he wants to get in an actual fight, I imagine.
Jesus, dude.
Like, just rage coming out of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those guys, especially the Clique were real good at it, but it was actually like one of those things where if you were in the backstage, if they said something shit about you, like, that could be the end of your career. Because by the time, like, before they, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash left for WCW, they basically ran WWF. They decided the cards and stuff. So, some real devastating true life shit talk that would just be brought into the ring.
CM Punk has talked a lot of shit in his
CM
life
Punk he basically built his career on shit talk.
Yeah.
Like, John Cena did that too, where when he was a heel, like, he was a fucking great shit talker. CM Punk though just never stopped it.
He never stopped.
Yeah,
he talked like insider, like business shit, like on non-wrestling TV shows.
Yes. That was his draw, where it was just like,
he's never off.
Yeah. And like, basically the difference between CM Punk and the real guy were negligible by the end, where it was just like, this is actually what I think, fuck you.
Yeah, he would go way off. And of course, we also had a lot of great shit talking managers and stuff at the side of the rings. Bobby the Brain Heenan, all he ever talked was how he was so much smarter than everybody.
And like, in the 80s, he could play it off by just using a couple big words, and people were like, yeah, I guess that's smart.
He's one of them fancy boys.
I'm smart as hell. But now you listen back to it, and it's like, he just said a couple of kind of big words.
Jim Cornette always pissed me off with his tennis racket.
And that's what he was all about. Like, he was about being the guy who drew the heat, and then like his stable or whatever, they could, say a few things on mic and people would be like, I kind of hate them because of their manager, but they could easily turn face and leave him. Like, leaving him as a manager made you a face now. Mm-hmm. So like, he was able to basically just keep all these heels popular without the heel having to actually be good on the mic.
Yeah,
which is
that's
genius.
The thing. Yeah, totally. Because you would hate the wrestlers in his camp just by association of him. Mm-hmm. It's like he was so good at being a shit heel.
If Mr. Fuji was in your corner, you were the bad guy.
Totally.
Mr. Fuji didn't even have to say anything.
No,
but yeah, Jim Cornette, super good on the mic. The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Great.
He was awesome. For sure, dude. Really, really quality stuff.
Super charming, super great, awesome. What do you call professional wrestling? It's basically just like
male soap opera.
Male soap opera, yeah. The female division has become the best division
Yeah, totally.
And in some ways, by avoiding a lot of the deep soap opera elements that are in the men's division, by having, like, you know, they have their drama or whatever, but they also then get in the ring and they're real good. Like, it's not like one wrestler who sucks and one wrestler who's good carrying the match.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of great women wrestlers.
It's not really about the whole, like, catfight element anymore. It's like, no, actually, a lot of these chicks are really really great wrestlers, you know? And that's awesome. There's two other things I want to say.
Let's hear them.
Two other things I want to bring up real quick. Talking about some of the stuff that got, like, really real. That would also happen, too, with some of the stuff that happened, like, let's say back during the Gulf War, like when Sergeant Slaughter turned over to, like, the side of Nikita Koloff and all those guys. Remember they burnt an American flag and stuff?
Yeah. And that was during the big flag burning, like, controversy. Yeah.
And it's like they brought that in to the ring into real life as though that was a storyline. Right. And I feel like I've mentioned this on one of the other shows a million years ago, but it's like that would be like a wrestler now, like, I don't know, joining the Taliban. And that is his character arc.
It would. And now that would be like, no, you can't do that. But like in the 80s, because people look back on it now and they're like, it's no big deal that there was this, you know, Middle Eastern character who was like...
Oh, at the time, it was a really big deal. It was a
huge fucking deal.
Yeah. So like Sergeant Slaughter doing that was taking a real personal risk. Like... He could have got his, you know, fucking self shot or something like that back then.
When those guys walk out of the arena, even today,
he's still Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah,
they still look the same, and they're not surrounded by security. They're just dudes getting in their fucking Honda and driving to the next town.
Yeah, and somebody out there took it real serious when he burnt that flag. Yeah, and they could go after him. Yeah, you know.
It's ballsy,
extremely ballsy. Yeah, especially considering Sergeant Slaughter was such like an American hero to the kids.
He was in G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, we watched him on G.I. Joe, dude. Oh, my God. Let me run one by you here, and I want you to tell me if you can guess who this shit-talking, salty-ass line is from. What I'd like to have right now is for all you fat, out-of-shape Chicago sweat hogs to keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real man is supposed to look like.
Is this Ravishing Rick Rude?
It's Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so good.
That character's great because, like, it plays on... Because, like, you know, the thing about professional wrestling that's really brilliant and genius is that, you know, if you're on the side of, you know, behind the ring, behind the curtain, you know we're taking money from rubes. Yeah. What you do is be the character they love. America, milk, vitamins, Kurt Angle.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, that was his shtick for a while. It was Hulk Hogan. I mean, you do that, and I'll come out and go, no, other countries are better. And then they'll go, boo, no, America is better, obviously. I hate you. And then I win, and they'll want to come back to see you beat me. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's a brilliant way to take money from people who want to give it away anyway.
Absolutely. And the world's a better place for it.
It's true.
So fun, man. I'm sure we might have left some of your all's favorite shit talkers out. So
I know.
Be sure to post yours up in the Facebook group and stuff. Yeah. Let us know if you got some particular, like, you know, interview clips and stuff or hype reels. Man,
yeah,
post them up.
Especially some newer wrestlers. I've been trying to get into wrestling again for a long time, and I can't do it anymore. Like, I just don't get into the drama of it.
Yeah, well, there's so much too going on where it's just like, it'd be like if I picked up a new issue of X-Men where I'm like, I don't know what's been going on here for like 10 years.
Exactly.
I go and I watch the pay-per-views with my friends, and we have like parties and stuff, and they'll explain to me, okay, that person's been feuding with that person. Right. Like, okay, cool.
That's
why I watch it and I have fun.
That's why ECW was so genius, because you could just pop in any ECW pay-per-view and you don't care who's good or bad because the audience doesn't care who's good or bad. You care that something crazy is going to happen.
Oh, and crazy shit
happened. And you'd go, I like that guy who made the crazy shit happen. I don't care what the storyline is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like we neglected a lot of WCW, ECW.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of those factions. Yeah. Most of ours are focused on WWF because that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah, that's true.
We'd watch some WCW. And of course, there's a lot of talent over there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we've neglected a lot of your all's favorites from those factions. So let us know on the Facebook group. Steve, I've got to get me a pull.
I need
Are you feeling
another
a little
pull too,
underpulled
because
today?
that lager, boy, I took it down real quick. So easy sipping.
Take me down to the Lager City. It was good though. It was nice, man. It was like a drier, less sweet Budweiser.
Yeah.
But you know something that's been on my mind lately is, you remember those ads that played when we were kids about bitter beer face?
Yes,
That was like a big thing. Yes, and it's like somebody drink a Miller or whatever and get bitter beer face. And that once again just shows me, and we talked about this before, how sugar addicted baby boomers are. That they thought a Budweiser was bitter.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
That's crazy. They put rice in it because rice is cheap and sweet.
Yeah.
Just like, what do you mean bitter?
I don't know. It means that you're a child.
Or were they trying to get in on the Heineken game?
I think that
Heineken
they were just making
was a little
fun of
more
domestics
skunky.
and stuff.
I guess, like.
But Heineken isn't naturally skunky. It's only
It's
that
not.
way if it sits out in those green bottles.
Exactly.
I had me a fresh Heineken from a can the other day. It was
good stuff.
delightful. Yeah. Now, I have just poured us here something that's quite nice. This is from the Mad Tree Brewing Company. This is a limited release. It's called the Citra High Imperial IPA. This is a 9.5%. It's
Holy
a big
shit.
old beer, and it's good.
All right. I have to try it out here.
It's surprisingly tasty considering how strong that is. Like, you won't really taste that much booze in it, right?
Oh, it doesn't taste boozy at all. It
It's
tastes
very
fruity.
it's kind of fruity, a little resiny.
A little resiny, yeah.
Not extremely hoppy to me.
No, it's light and, again, refreshing. Like, this is a nice, refreshing beer.
Yeah, but it's almost 10%, so it'll waylay your
Way
ass.
to go, Matt Tree.
Yeah, Mad Tree makes some pretty good stuff, man. I've not been really that disappointed with, I don't think, any of their stuff that I've had.
I've only
honestly.
had a few, but yeah, they've all been
Everything's
good.
been pretty good, and their distribution's pretty good, too. So, yeah, way to go, Mad Tree. You did a good thing.
Y'all the man.
Now, we are here today to talk in depth about They Live from
88.
That's what I said. 1988.
That's the one.
Obviously. What, you think I didn't know when the movie was made? When did you watch this movie for the first time?
Oh, man. They Live. This was one I remember watching as a kid and not really getting.
Okay. Yeah, you probably watched it because it
Rowdy
had
Roddy Piper.
Razzle Man in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being like, oh, what is this? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then seeing it again as a teenager and be like, all right, I get it now because I've smoked weed.
Yeah. See, it's about the system, man. The system's
About the
corrupt,
system.
man.
And now that I'm a grown-ass adult, I'm like, oh, it's about the system.
Only it's a much more dire, like, oh no.
Oh, no, that's the system we
That
live
is
in
how
today.
it works. Oh no.
And this is a dystopian future they're showing.
So when you saw it as a kid, you probably just mainly liked it because it had Rowdy in it.
Yeah, I
and a
was happy
ridiculous
about
fight
Rowdy
scene.
Roddy Piper, and there was a wrestling match in the middle, basically. So,
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah.
a lot to love there.
And the fun people looked funny.
Yeah, and there's some great quotes in here. All the came here to
But
kick ass.
yeah, none of that hit me as a kid. It was all just Rowdy Roddy Piper being cool.
I watched this for the first time, I think maybe just a year or two ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it at all. I just heard about it, and I remember watching it because it had Rowdy Roddy Piper in it.
Good choice.
And then being like, oh shit, this is a John Carpenter movie. Like,
Yeah.
this actually might be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And really enjoying it. Like, I watched this movie, I think this is only the second time I watched the movie, actually. I watched it that first time, really liked it. Finally realized that that's where that entire, like, Obey, like, t-shirt line and stuff comes from.
Shepard Fairey. Yeah, he was very much influenced by this.
I mean, it just is this.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
With the Andre the Giant face instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, it's Andre the Giant.
I need to go back and look at that.
You do.
What the hell? But yeah, I remember really, really, really liking the movie, and so when we decided to do it for the show, I was super stoked to watch it. Kate had never seen it either.
Oh, okay.
Although she just recently watched another Rowdy Roddy Piper
Yeah,
feature.
we all did on the
didn't
streaming
get to.
chat.
I was
You
playing
didn't
a
get
show.
to. Hell Comes to Frogtown. I mentioned it at the end of the last show.
What the fuck is this?
Hell
Because I don't
Comes to
know
Frogtown.
anything about it.
Well, I'll tell you my wife's observation, which I think is probably the sharpest observation about Hell Comes to Frogtown there is.
Okay.
It's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
I love Mad Max Fury Road.
Sure, but imagine if the writing was worse.
Okay.
And the central premise of the beginning was Rowdy Roddy Piper is a rapist.
Okay.
But
This is...
his sperm works and nobody else's sperm works. So all the ladies need that sweet, sweet sperm.
This is
Sounds like a porno?
Not what I was anticipating.
No.
What? That's really what it's about?
He's the only person who can impregnate people. What happens in Mad Max Fury Road? There's a pregnant woman. She's the only pregnant woman, basically, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's some of that.
Okay.
There's also the fact that the main female character drives the entire time.
That sounds a little familiar. Okay. Does anybody spray silver spray paint on their face?
They don't do that.
Okay, so that's unique.
But instead of that, they have people who look like frogs.
Frog people.
And they look like the makeup effects are really good. Like surprisingly really good.
Is the movie actually good though?
No, it's bad. No, it's real bad.
Okay, after all that, I was like, sounds pretty interesting.
It is fun, though. It was real fun to watch, especially drinking with a bunch of other people talking shit about it. But also, the positive part about it, because, there's a lot of, we drink and talk shit about a lot of movies on Friday nights, and what I found is there's not much that comes of it. But watching Hell Comes to Frogtown at least started the meme in my own household of saying, "Shut your hole!"
What the fuck does that mean?
You'd have to see.
I gotta see it and find out.
When you see it in the movie, you'll go, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Okay. All right. Wow. So I need to watch that. Was that his acting debut?
No. He had done a couple things before this, but They Live in Hell Comes to Frogtown came out the same year.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was early on in his acting
He
career.
graced the silver screen many times that year.
That's true. I just wanted to talk a little about Roddy Piper. That's going to veer a little back into wrestling.
Oh, I want to hear about it.
But I think it's important history about why Roddy Piper is in this movie.
Okay, yeah, because I'm interested to know because, nowadays, seeing a wrestler in a movie...
It's not a surprise.
I mean, fucking Batista was in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He's a Guardian of the Galaxy.
John Cena, Batista, The Rock, they're all actually good actors.
They are.
Yeah.
And whenever I found out that Roddy Piper was in this movie, again, a few years ago, and watched it the first time, I was like, man, John Carpenter, or whoever was in charge of casting, really saw the writing on the wall. Because up to then, if you wanted an actor in a great physical role, it's like, well, okay, we need 6 months to a year to get him in shape so they have a good body.
Or you get a bodybuilder who can't really speak.
Yeah, Arnold.
Like Arnold.
Yeah, exactly. But then you had guys like Rowdy who were already on the mic all the time, acting in character.
And also big dudes.
Also already jacked and could do their own falls and stuff like this. It's like you kind of end up getting two birds stoned at once when you can get a wrestler as an actor, especially in an action movie.
It's probably easier to get two birds stoned at once than to kill two birds with one stone.
I'm sure. I'm certain of that.
I imagine, though, because you know how some birds are scavengers. You start to get one vulture high, 6 other vultures show up.
Oh, my God. Can't get rid of these things. Okay, so give us some history about how he ended up in this thing.
And I hope you'll stick with me if you skipped through all the other wrestling talk. This wrestling talk is actually helpful in understanding at least some of the mid-'80s. So, before Vince McMahon took over the WWF, and I will be referring to it as the WWF because it was the WWF in the 80s. It wasn't the WWE. Before Vince McMahon took over his dad's company, there was this non-aggression pact basically between wrestling territories. And WWF was the Northeast. That's where you wrestled.
Northeast, okay.
They wrestled in the Northeast. Sometimes you have some cross promotion. You know, maybe your big star from the South goes to California for a match with their big star. And, it's non-title or whatever. But you don't have wrestling matches for your own promotion in different cities.
Okay. I didn't know that, but all right.
Yeah. So Vince McMahon came along and he was like, yeah, well, fuck that, though.
I could take the whole map.
I could take it all.
Yeah.
And so he gets, his stars, starts putting together this stable of stars, but instead
genius.
Real genius. He started spending actual money. Like a lot of the promoters at that time were just pulling in their money and never really spending it on the talent. It was like, I'll find another buff, stupid hayseed to take your job.
Right.
And, you know, if you look back at the quality of wrestling back then, it wasn't great. You didn't have to be amazing to be good in the ring. So Vince McMahon was like, fuck that. I'll start pulling in real talent. He started and developing these guys that I think could be stars.
So there's something in it for them if they're loyal.
Right. And before that, the concept of being a wrestling star didn't exist. Like, being the best wrestler in the area was like, well, sweet, you're the, you know, prettiest meth girl in the trailer park. Like,
you're the best bass player.
Yeah, you're the best bass player. You're Geddy Lee.
Yeah, you're Geddy Lee, basically, which is pretty
And people
deal.
are like, who's Geddy Lee?
Yeah.
Well, not most of our listeners.
I hope not.
Yeah. So Vince was like, all right, I'm gonna start building up my stable. I'm gonna move into other territories. But the real genius thing he started doing was pop culture cross promotion.
Okay.
So Captain Lou Albano, who worked for him at the time,
lots of rubber bands in his goatee.
Yes, that's him. Met Cyndi Lauper on a trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, they were like tight.
They became tight on this trip to Puerto Rico. And Cyndi Lauper was like, hey, I want you to play my dad in in my video.
Right.
So Captain Lou Albano plays her dad in this video. And then Vince sees this as an opportunity. So he invites Cyndi Lauper to come on to the WWF show and have her own like storyline where it's her versus Captain Lou Albano. And they chose their own like champions to fight each other. And so for this, they invented a women's championship. So like, not only does this tie into John Carpenter's They Live, but it ties into the creation of the women's championship, which is a pretty big deal. Which they then claimed the fabulous Moolah had held for 28 years. And then she and someone else who I can't remember because I just read this today, Wendy Richter, they had a match to see who basically was right between
like
Cyndi Lauper
in Game of Thrones, and have somebody fight for the trial by combat.
Yes, like that. And of course, they did this on MTV.
Wow.
Yes.
Which at that time was like
this was
biggest
new and the biggest
media.
fucking thing. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Genius.
Genius. Absolute genius. And then Cyndi Lauper, I guess, as part of like the contract, she then had pro wrestlers in 3 more of her videos. So Captain Lou Albano was in some videos. Roddy Piper was in The Goonies Are Good Enough. Going back to The Goonies.
Very nice.
Yeah. So then this all led to this rise in popularity, which of course fell on the shoulders of Hulk Hogan, who was Vince's chosen guy. Now, Vince's chosen heel for Hulk Hogan was Roddy Piper.
Ah, that was his foil.
Yeah, he saw Roddy Piper as the perfect foil to Hulk Hogan, who's this perfect blonde hair, blue-eyed, ripped, muscular guy who says his prayers and eats his vitamins. And then you got this Canadian guy who they claim is Scottish and plays the bagpipes and hits people in the nuts and cheats and runs away.
Yeah, dude.
And he's the villain. And so that they headlined WrestleMania 1. That was the headliner, was Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan. And then just a few months later, they introduced Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestlers. Was it Rockin' Wrestlers?
Rockin' Wrestlers.
Rockin' Wrestling.
Rockin' Wrestling.
Did you ever see this cartoon? Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling?
This doesn't ring a bell. Tell me about that.
You may have been too young. It was September of 85 that it came out.
Okay, so that was 1.
Yeah. And it was a cartoon, and it was a stable of face wrestlers with Hulk Hogan as their leader and a stable of heel wrestlers with Roddy Piper as their leader. And this aired for 2 years.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen this.
I remember watching it all the time. This was also the time when they started pumping out Hulk Hogan items. I had the Hulk Hogan weightlifting set.
Oh my God,
kids.
dude.
Like, it was just this time where everything... Vince McMahon really saw an opportunity to enter into kids' imaginations, knowing in 15 years he could really get the payoff.
Oh, he Ray A. Croc'd them. Yes. He Ronald McDonald their asses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, man.
So Roddy Piper had this opportunity because he was the big heel Hulk Hogan was getting into movies, so people were interested in Roddy Piper getting into movies. John Carpenter saw this as a good opportunity because, well, I'll get into it more, but basically, John Carpenter saw in Roddy Piper an entertainer who could also play very simple, but also be entertaining. Like, he doesn't have to do a lot to be entertaining. Just a face, or just like, you know, one line, and you're like, I get this guy.
Yeah, just good presence.
Yeah. Unlike Hulk Hogan, who has to live up to the good boy image in all of his roles, Roddy Piper can do whatever the fuck he wants. So, like, you know, he goes for a low blow in the 8-minute long fight scene. Like, you know, he can be the common man.
Well, I couldn't see Hulk Hogan shooting up a bank.
No. But you're Roddy Piper, you could.
Yeah, he was already the bad guy, so just
exactly.
Whatever.
So it's a perfect choice. Also considering the fact that Roddy Piper is a better actor than Hulk Hogan.
My God. No contest at all.
Like he's not. Yeah, it's not even close.
Was Carpenter like a wrestling fan back then?
Not that I know of. He's a big basketball and video game fan, but right. I think he just saw this guy and saw this opportunity. I mean, Roddy Piper had left the WWF around that time after WrestleMania 4 or WrestleMania 3. He had a boxing match with Mr. T.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that'd have been 87.
Yeah, which actually stemmed from the WrestleMania 1 match where Mr. T was on Hulk Hogan's side. And apparently Roddy Piper had to carry Mr. T the whole match because he was just so bad at wrestling.
Oh, man.
And he talked some shit about him, and the Mr. T was, like, legit mad at him. So they were like, well, let's turn it into a fucking boxing match.
Badass.
Yeah. But yeah, like, he'd kind of stepped away from wrestling and was focusing more on acting because of his health. Like, he was never in great health when he was wrestling. And if you remember, like, even when he would come back in the 90s, he didn't do much. Like, he would do a lot of talk, but not a lot of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The Piper's Pit would, like, keep coming back, but it wouldn't be because Roddy Piper was wrestling. It would just be because Roddy Piper is good on the mic. So, stepping into acting was kind of natural for him. And John Carpenter, I think, really saw an opportunity with him as this big guy who can play dumb, because he does that in this movie a lot, playing dumb, not being dumb.
I might say he's more
dumb.
Gullible than dumb. Because Nada doesn't seem like a moron, but he definitely seems like he's gullible.
Yeah, he's internalized the American dream. Like, yes, that is exactly what he is. He's
very much.
He's this person who very much believes in the American dream.
Believes everything he's ever been told.
Yep. Hard work will get you places. Yeah. Despite the fact that he's a homeless drifter, he still believes it.
Right. Yeah. And John Carpenter, of course, we're no stranger to. We, as I said earlier, we love him. We've done Halloween. We've done In the Mouth of Madness on the show.
Yeah, we've done a few of his movies. Oh, fuck. Something else?
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm forgetting like a couple titles of his.
Anyway.
We did Vampires.
Oh, yeah, Vampires.
We didn't like that one.
No, that one's not great.
Not a very good movie.
Well, I mean, that's a good...
The Thing. We've done The Thing on the show.
The Thing, yeah. That's a good reason to talk about what happened to his career, and this movie is the crux point of his career, really.
Yeah, because John Carpenter has been robbed many times.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween made a huge splash, one of the most influential horror flicks of all time. The Thing was the biggest bomb of his entire career, which is insane.
One
considering
of the best movies of his career.
Yeah, and it's like widely regarded. Like, it's not just like one of those things where, I meing, we love In the Mouth of Madness. Most people don't.
Yeah, most people aren't big on it, but
pretty much everybody who likes horror, or really just movies, period, these days knows The Thing is like a 10 out of 10 easy.
Yeah.
But when it came out, it absolutely tanked. This movie's history in the box office is suspect. There's some weirdness here because it debuted and did really, really well.
Right, and
really well.
Well, okay, so here's kind of what happened. He got Big Trouble in Little China, and they gave him a big budget, and it bombed.
Yeah, which again, everybody loves that movie too.
That's true. But then they gave him projects with smaller budgets. Prince of Darkness, $3 million budget.
Wow.
Made almost $15 million. Even if, which this does happen with some movies where they spend up to the budget itself on promotion if they really believe in it. or even more. Paranormal Activity, obviously, they spent way more on.
Yeah, Blair Witch.
Yeah, Blair Witch. But even if they had spent $6 million total, they still made more than double their money.
It was still a success, yeah.
Yeah. So, off the success of Prince of Darkness and They Live, he got the Chevy Chase comedy, the Invisible Man comedy. I don't know if you know about this.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. He got that, and that fucking tanked. Now, I'll tell you this. Anything involving Chevy Chase that tanks, Chevy Chase's fault.
It very much seems that way.
Read up on Chevy
like
Chase.
The dude is of shit.
Jerk. He's a total asshole.
Yeah. I've read so many misogynistic, racist quotes of that guy. Ooh, you don't have to dig deep to find out why to not like Chevy Chase.
Right. So that movie bombed, not Carpenter's fault, and then Mouth of Madness came out. But by the time Mouth of Madness came out, it's 6 years after They Live. It's only his second movie 6 years later.
Wow.
So he's already getting kind of pushed out, and then he's only getting these smaller possible jobs. He did get offered Halloween H2O, but he insisted on being paid $10 million because that's how much Mustafa Akkad owed him from the original Halloween.
Right, yeah, he got grossly underpaid for that.
Yeah, so Mustafa Akkad refused because, I don't know, refused to give the person the money he owes him just to do another job. And so he didn't take that, and he just like kept rejecting jobs. I mean, even in 89 he rejected The Exorcist 3. Like he kept getting offered some titles that were bigger, but I think he was just done with the system, and this movie is kind of his I'm done with it, fuck you movie.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, when you look at it that way, as far as Halloween, his baby that everybody loves, he got big time screwed on. Yeah. Like, he started his career by getting screwed and just kind of kept getting screwed.
A lot. Over and over. But he could go and make music, and he had enough money to not have to worry about that.
Yeah, and he's just like, fuck watch basketball and play video games and do music. So that's kind of what he does now.
I get that.
I respect the fuck out of that, too, by the way. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about this movie is that it came out and debuted extremely strong, and then was out of theaters after like a week or two. It's not that the momentum slowed down. It's that it got pulled.
Let me tell you something about that liberal Hollywood people always talk about.
Look out.
It's not liberal at all. It's super conservative. It is the interest of corporations. Yes. And they are not spreading a liberal message. It's ridiculous that you think that.
Yeah, because it won't make money out of everybody's pockets if it's super liberal.
And this movie has been called by none other than Slavoj Žižek.
Who is that?
Slavoj Žižek is... he's Czech, I believe. He's a intellectual, expert in pop culture, one might say. Psychoanalyst perspective.
Yeah, sounds like some kind of cuck to me.
Yeah, that's him. But in the documentary The Pervert's Guide to Ideology, which is Slavoj Žižek, he says that They Live is definitely one of the forgotten masterpieces of the Hollywood left.
Wow.
And you have to remember that. There is a Hollywood left. There are leftists in Hollywood, and they can speak their mind when they're not making movies. But look at the movies that get produced and pushed. They all push the same: capitalism good, communism bad, socialism bad, protect your own, don't worry about everybody else. They all push the same message. And what this pushes is a message of corporations are bad. This is all negative. We have to change the world.
Yeah, very much. It was very much the American dream is dead because of wild corporate greed.
Yeah, and you put it out just to show him that you're right, and then you make money off of it, so you have to pull it out, because if it makes more money, it changes minds.
Yes. This was kind of a dangerous movie because, I mean, it came out... kind of in the heart of Reaganomics and...
Yes, and that's what he's reacting to, specifically.
John Carpenter hated Ronald Reagan.
And he should, because that's the reason our country is what it is today.
Destroyed the middle class.
Because he could see it. You could see it in 1988. John Carpenter could look at what was happening and say, this is what's going to happen.
Long term.
Then here we are in 2019, and it happened. It's not an alien invasion, though.
No.
It's just the fucking lizard people that live among us. And I don't mean actual lizard people. I mean like they're cold. They have no heart whatsoever.
Sure. Yeah, so considering that this movie was such a strong, I mean, not veiled opinion on...
Yeah, no, nothing veiled in this. Everything he wants to say is said in this movie.
Oh, yeah. It's not all that, I don't know, conspiratorial to say that this got yanked because it ruffled a lot of people's feathers and people wanted it gone before it made people start thinking. Because, I mean, I don't know. I will at least play a little bit of devil's advocate here and be like, if a person who is already maybe a little bit mentally unbalanced watched this movie and took the messages maybe literally and then went and, shot up a bank or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I could
bad.
see some negative there, but that's not why they pulled it. All right, here's a quote directly from John Carpenter.
Okay.
And he was describing the alien threat in the first sentence, but then he immediately started talking about Universal executives. He said, they want to own all our businesses. And then he says, a Universal executive asked me, where's the threat in that? We all sell out every day. I ended up using that line in the film.
Yeah.
He's talking to the lizard person. He's talking to the people, the cold heart, the people who don't care about humanity.
Yeah.
He's talking to them directly and using their money to make a movie to expose them, and it made money, and that pissed him off.
Wow.
Yeah.
They took it personally.
Yeah, and his career was dead basically after that.
Damn, dude.
It's crazy. We've talked about it when we talked about Harvey Weinstein. Like, people don't understand Hollywood. Like, outside of LA, people look at Hollywood as like Tinseltown. It's like this great, wonderful place. And then like inside of LA, people look at it as like tourist attraction, piece of shit place that's always going to cause traffic. I hate that. Mm-hmm. But like within Hollywood, it's just this real... I don't want to say anything that would eventually not get me a job. It's a real nepotistic, real like cold environment that is about making money for a very small number of people and not about messages. It's just like the WWF. No different. Mm-hmm. The exact same thing is there are rubes out there with money. They want to give it away. We want to take it. Let's give them the thing they like to hear. But what happens, just like with Vince, whenever people, like with Daniel Bryan, like Vince didn't want Daniel Bryan to ever be like a big champion in the WWE, but the people made it happen, and he still tried to destroy it as it was happening. As the people's will becomes something that the executives don't want, they just start pulling those stories. Like whatever is making that happen, they start making them disappear. Mm-hmm. So like all the dystopian stuff up to this point had been like fun and silly, like, you know, Terminator and RoboCop and the one where Arnold Schwarzenegger goes to Mars. What is that?
Total Recall.
Like all those had been fun, happy, like that's never gonna happen. But this one comes along and it's like, oh, this is the exact trajectory we want, and you're exposing it. I don't like that.
Right.
I think we don't like that people like it.
Definitely changed his career. And so Carpenter definitely did kind of commit some career suicide with this movie, because it is just ballsy as shit, man. Those first scenes, whenever Nada gets the shades and looks at the world as it really is. I mean, up until this point in the movie, that's probably like a half an hour, 40 minutes or something into the movie. It's all just kind of been like, okay, there's this friendly
What's the setup?
harmonica music and acoustic guitar and homeless people in shanty town.
It's setting up the world that we're living in, which is basically a 1930s LA kind of thing, where you have all these people who are having to come from other states looking for work, which is what happened during the Dust Bowl days. People coming from the middle of the country moving to Southern California looking for work, and living in these shanty towns and being treated like we see Roddy Piper treated when he goes to get a job at the that one office. And he's talking to the old lady, and she's just disgusted with him.
And I love there's that message where it's just like food stamp programs aren't even working anymore. Yeah. Don't even apply.
I just want any if we do still have some Trump supporters listening, I want you to remember this. That when Oklahoma needed help in the 30s and they needed to move from their state to get new jobs, they were treated the way you treat migrants coming to this country.
Yeah.
It could turn on you any moment. You need to stop it.
Damn.
That's just how it happened.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line because Hollywood Steve said so. I'm telling you, like, this really did just set up, like, the dirty ills of L.A., like, the destruction of the shanty towns that happened with the Okies. It also happened when they built the Dodgers Stadium. There was an entire community where that stadium is, and they basically just came in and said, sorry, get out of here, and bulldozed their place. Like,
no kidding.
I mean, I love the city. But it's corrupt as shit. Well, that's what that song is about how this terrible LA actually is. But yeah, like it's very corrupt, and this is like just sort of trying to expose all that evil corruption of LA and Hollywood and like just business and capitalism in general.
Yeah, especially the capitalist aspects I think are really, really, really covered here, because whenever he puts on those shades and sees that black and white world, which I love that it's literally black and white. And it's also like just cinematically like this high contrast, gritty, grainy black and white.
Yes.
That looks awesome.
Yes, it does.
And like all the ads are black and white. It's a white sign with black letters that say obey, marry and reproduce.
Yeah, I wrote down as many as I could.
Yeah, there's a lot. I wrote down a bunch of them too.
Here's some of my favorites. Work 8 hours, sleep out 8 hours, play 8 hours. Now, I want anybody who's listening who just heard that and said, like, yeah, that's right. That's not fucking right. Now, everybody thinks there was this period for hundreds of thousands of years where the average age of death was 30. But what they don't understand is that infant mortality rates were high at that time. Looking at it statistically, if you survived infancy, you would make it into your 70s.
Oh, so that's what drug that average was high.
How much work would that person put in on an average week to survive? About 10 hours. 10 hours of work to gather enough food to survive a week. To keep your shelter up. Work 8 hours a day for fucking what?
Somebody else.
For money, so you can use it to pay corporations that are paying other people to do the fucking job like that you could just go do. You could just go kill your own meat.
Go fish.
Yeah. And they give you these things, and that's
which is also illegal without a license now.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't even go fucking fit. Like they've
in some of the
it,
cities, you can't even give food to homeless people anymore.
They've made it illegal to not participate in capitalism. Is what they're doing.
Wow, that's a great way to sum it up. You have to play the game.
You can't have at
sit out the game.
Some money to exist. And if you don't have money, we'll harass you for some reason. I keep thinking of how appropriate it is that we're doing this movie at this time, but then I keep thinking of how appropriate it is that this movie exists at any time. The CEO of Nestle came out and said that access to water is not a human right.
Yeah.
Because they take water from places that need water and bottle it and sell it to other places or back to the place where it came from.
Yeah. It was already there.
It's an issue that was happening in California during the drought where the Coca-Cola bottling plant was still bottling Dasani and shipping it out of the state.
We need the water here now.
Yeah. It's insane. Fucking crazy.
Wow.
Anyway,
man.
All right. So one of the other... are two of the others that I saw that I think are the core of what this is about is doubt humanity and honor apathy.
Honor apathy. Oh, that's cold. Yeah,
because like all the other stuff like surrender, consume, conform, obey, that's all just like this command. But this is what Carpenter thinks is like at the bottom of all this. Is that people doubt other humans and don't believe other people could possibly have good and positive intentions, and honor apathy, meaning let things happen. You can't change the world.
Right. Like, yeah. Just lay down and go.
Just lay down and let it go. It's fine.
Which is the the more comfortable position that our masters would like us to take.
Yeah, it's very comfortable. They
don't be a problem.
In some countries, being a problem will get you killed immediately.
Yeah.
In some countries, it'll get you jailed indefinitely. In this country, being a problem, it becomes a lifelong torture, basically, where not only does everything in society fight against you, but everything in society hates you. And so you can walk around free. You can not be killed for your beliefs. That's fine. But everybody's going to treat you like absolute shit for the rest of your life. That's nice. It's like a lifelong torture and constantly having to interact with the thing you hate.
Right.
It's real tough. I'm not saying it's as bad as those other countries. I'm saying it's a different type of hell.
I love, too, that whenever the people that are in the little shanty town, like they're watching the TV and that hacked message is coming over the airwaves telling them the truth about everything that's going on. It's interrupting their broadcast that they're just sitting out there watching. Somehow they have electricity in the shanty town. I don't know. But they're sitting out there watching that thing. This guy comes through with this message about everything that's going on. And their only reaction is like, this is giving me a headache.
Yeah. And
like,
the one
they just
guy
want to
who's
go back
just
to
like,
relaxing.
yeah, he wanted to see the thing that they were watching before, which was just like a commercial or something.
Right.
Yeah, so right before that, they have the setup of, we got Frank and John, right? His name is Nada. Nada. It never says it. I think it's John Nada.
Well, nobody ever says the name in the whole movie.
Yeah. But Frank and Nada are talking and basically setting out who they are. And Nada is if you work, you get where you're going. Like, I believe in America, he says.
Yeah, he very much seems to have that American ideal of I can work and climb the ladder, and hard work will get me anywhere.
If I follow the rules, I'll get to the top.
He's got the idealized version of the American dream.
And Frank, who's played by Keith David, who's amazing. Frank has a different view on life of basically keep your head down, jaded. Don't make trouble. Everything is set up against you and you will never get anywhere. Yeah. But keep your head down and don't make trouble.
Well, he's got those lines about how, like, you know, the American dream isn't that. The American dream is every man for himself, and I'll step on your neck to get whatever I want.
And that is the American dream.
I mean, that's capitalism. Yeah. It is all just like cut the throat of whoever.
We were
get ahead
founded
of
by
them.
merchants who had earned enough money to escape the slavery of the nobility, but just recreate it here in this country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the problem was that they weren't on top.
Yeah.
So he very much seems to understand that the real way to climb the ladder in America is to step on the heads of whoever's below you.
Right.
Seems to be his attitude. He seems very disenfranchised.
Yes. And so those are our two perspectives. And then this comes in and basically establishes a truth in between them. And I wrote down a lot of this and don't want to spend the entire time reading it, but basically he says the poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. I don't know if this sounds familiar. They have created a repressive society and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. So
I mean, that's pretty scathing.
Yes. And he's saying a lot of what Frank was saying. And he's exposing Nada's beliefs to be sort of not correct. And Nada kind of he seems to be most affected by it, which is what leads to him being suspicious of everything after that. Like, he starts being suspicious of everything around him, beginning with, the homeless camp and the people that run it. But then, moving on to the whole world. And it's like, he's this like Joe America type guy who has been exposed finally to the idea that maybe America isn't so great and needs to be improved.
Do you think that it is at all a coincidence that they cast the guy who believes in the American dream as a white guy and the guy who seems a little more disenfranchised as a black guy?
No, that's absolutely intentional and genius. It, of course, like, even if those aliens weren't there, Keith David's character, Frank, would be disenfranchised.
Yeah.
The aliens aren't his problem. The white people are his problem as much as the aliens.
Yeah.
Like, he comes from a long line of people who are being held down and oppressed. And so this guy, who's a white guy, who, we learn was raised by an abusive father and like has been homeless and because of like lack of jobs and stuff, he's got it rough right now. But he's still able to believe in the American dream because as a white person, he might get there.
Sure.
There's a higher...
Just a momentary hiccup.
Yeah, there's a higher likelihood. Yeah, like that quote from, what's his name? The guy who wrote Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck.
John Steinbeck.
Every poor American thinks of themselves as a temporarily embarrassed millionaire.
Yeah. Oh, it'll come back around.
This is why, like, people in the South who are never, ever, ever going to make $1 million in a year vote for people who are going to give tax cuts to people who make over $1 million a year because they think, well, next year I might. Well, you're not going to. That's not going to happen. They don't understand they're disenfranchised is what's going on. Like, this is what happens to Nada, is he begins to understand, wait, I also don't have a chance in this. Like, there are these creatures ahead of me that are never going to let me become rich unless I become part of their plot.
Yeah, and that's something that I like about this too, is that you have all these different attitudes towards this invasion that it seems like some people are very aware is going on. You have guys like Nada, who again are the believers in the American dream and optimistic. You have guys like Frank, who just feel very torn up by the system, shredded by the cogs in the wheels.
Yeah.
But then you also have the people like the chick Holly.
Oh, Holly, yeah. Who she's
well
already like she's upper management at a TV studio. She's got a good life.
Yeah. Her and Buck Flowers that comes in the movie later, who are the people that know the system is rigged, know it's oppressing people,
and want to maintain it because it gives them what they want.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a chance that they could hop on board.
Because if they destroy it, they might never be back on top.
Yeah, well, they're like the guy in the Matrix that eats the steak, where he's like, I know this is fake, but I want to be taken care of. Yeah. So there's the people that are the hangers-on because they might be given a higher rung on the ladder, which is again also very much another type of American.
Yes, it is. It's our middle class, but they're starting to lose out on those opportunities as the rich just keep grabbing all the power completely and totally, and then for some reason
they keep leaving.
We get all these people foaming at the mouth, mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. How dare that person of modest means become a politician, raising themselves up by their bootstraps. That's not what this America's about.
Yeah.
This America's about oppression and the rich getting richer. They don't even hear themselves as they're saying it, but that's what they're saying.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I love Keith David and Roddy Piper's chemistry on screen together. I think that they're great.
They're really good. Yeah.
Nada is pretty subdued. Frank is pretty over the top and intense.
Yeah.
They work really well on screen together. Holly, who's Holly played by?
Oh, man.
Meg Foster?
Foster, I think.
Who has the bluest eyes of any creature that's ever lived.
I wanted to talk about that because, yes, Meg Foster, she actually had trouble because in 1979, she was named by Mademoiselle as Eyes of 1979.
Ooh.
But on a lot of productions, she would have to wear contact lenses because her eyes were too distracting.
Do you think she has vision problems?
No, her eyes are fine.
Man alive.
They're so light.
They're just like ice pop. Blue. Yeah. She seems like she's stoned the whole movie.
She does. She does come off as real low key.
She's not that great in here.
Yeah.
Although I love when she throws Nada out of that window. She smashed him on the head with a bottle and he falls out that window.
Yeah, she does like a little like 360 smash. Yeah.
And that overhead shot is like very Psycho-esque or something. Dude, Roddy flies out that window
and just rolling down the Hollywood hills. Yeah.
It's so good, man. It's so fantastic. But yeah, pretty small cast in this. There's a couple other people here and there.
Yeah, some people you probably recognize maybe, but it's mostly just that core center three that we're really worried about. We have the resistance fighters and the one guy who we meet early on in the camp who happens to be one of the leaders of the resistance.
Gunther or something like that. I can't remember what his name was.
But yeah, everybody else and all the aliens look the exact same, except with male or female voices.
Yeah, dude, I think the way that the aliens, I call them goons in my notes. I didn't know what to call them exactly.
I think that's a good choice.
They look like goons.
Yeah.
I love the way that they look. I love that, which I've seen some people critique. It's like, it's just like a rubber mask and the mouth doesn't move and stuff like that. It's like, that's fine by me.
Yeah,
because they're phony.
Yeah, they look inhuman.
I think the way that they look is really cool. Probably if those black and white scenes would have been in color, it probably would have looked really bad.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess towards the end of the movie, you see them in color. You do see them in
color, and they're like blue and red, and it doesn't look as
cool.
Yeah.
But when they're in black and white, they're awesome. Now, when they're in that black and white world, we also get some crazy stuff. There's like police drone kind of things flying around, keeping tabs on everybody.
They got a drone, like, again, did Carpenter look into the future?
Yeah.
Was he just like, there are going to be drones that'll catch criminals?
Well, and they say stuff on there, too, about how even when the TV is off, it's still receiving and emitting information or something like that.
That sounds a lot like an echo to me.
That sounds like, our phones, our Alexas, our everything that's constantly listening, even when it's off, even when we're not using it. It's still buying and selling stuff to us,
Yeah, it's crazy. On one hand, if you made a They Live Now, I don't know where it would go. But if you made They Live to reflect how now is in the modern time, I wonder if you could even... could you get away with saying the stuff that this movie says? There should be more movies critiquing these things, because these are things people talk about on a regular... we get things like The Big Short and Wolf of Wall Street and all those others that sort of set up the political climate, but also add a bit of fun and levity to it, where it's like, you could see why they're enjoying this. Snorting cocaine off a hooker or whatever. And this doesn't do that. This doesn't give. This is like, no, fuck that. Like the positive. There's no positive.
Yeah,
it's black and white.
You're livestock for them.
Yeah, you're livestock for them.
Yeah. Now you said that was it Network?
Network
and this have a lot in common. I've never seen Network. Did it come out before or after this?
Network's 1976.
Oh wow,
yeah,
so much before.
Network is one of my favorite movies. You have to watch it. Everybody still needs to see this movie and understand that Fox News was predicted in 1976.
Jeez.
They knew about it. They knew these things were going to happen. We all act like, when we look at the past, we act like people weren't seeing this shit, but people were seeing this shit. George Orwell's 1984, people were seeing all the fucking shit that was coming and warning us about it the whole time. And people were like, it's fun. It's fun right now.
It's the 80s. Everybody has money.
Yeah, everybody's having fun and cocaine.
Wow. I need to watch Network. That sounds
Anyway, Network, though, what I would say is that specifically the speech that the bum who's in a tuxedo at the end, I don't know what his name is.
It's Buck Flowers.
Buck Flowers. There you go, yeah. He gives that speech about there no longer being nations, about they own everything.
That's crazy.
That comes directly from... a speech in Network. It seems to come directly from a speech in Network near the end. I'm sure at least the "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore."
Okay,
that's from Network.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've heard that many times.
Yeah. Oh man, that was the most ironic thing in the goddamn world. If you see Network, you have to remember that Glenn Beck in the late 2000s would use the "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore" to his advantage, but Network is warning about him.
Jeez.
Network, the movie, was warning Glenn Beck might exist, and Glenn Beck thought,
this is about me.
This is about me in a good way.
Yikes, man. I gotta have me a pull after talking all this serious business, Steve. We got one more cat grass left over here from Shorts Brew.
I'm happy about this.
From our man Roger Dean Miller, the notorious RDM. He gifted us these as a super fresh drink. You're supposed to be drank real fresh and stuff. This one's probably going on, 2 months old now?
Yeah. But we did drink one fresh.
Yeah, we drank a couple of them.
Yeah.
And this is just an enjoyable, delicious IPA, which we've had 5 of in the past, I guess. Mm-hmm. Pretty damn good stuff. Now, this movie, even though it deals with a lot of these issues and stuff, which are very, very huge, very serious.
Yeah.
There is still levity in this movie.
Oh, yeah, tons of, silly lines and ridiculous things to happen.
You look like your head fell in the cheese dip back in 1957.
Yeah. You? Okay. This one? Ugly. What does he say?
Ugly as fuck,
Ugly
or
as
fucking
fuck.
ugly,
Fucking
or something
ugly.
like that. Yeah. And of course, the signature, I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all
out of bubble gum.
I knew that line from Duke Nukem when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it came from this.
Yep. This movie, there's so many, like, they're cheesy one-liners. And there's so many elements to this movie that I would get why somebody would look at this movie and think, oh, it's just like a campy, cheesy sort of movie. But I think that John Carpenter wrapped his very clear anti-corporate, anti-greed message in this sugary coating that he knew that a lot of Americans could swallow. Roddy Piper being one part of that.
Yeah.
He's a big WWF star. We want to see him in a movie. You throw in the cheesy quips and lines and stuff. They're digging it. They're loving it. You throw in an 8-minute long wrestling match. Great.
Which,
now
what?
Let's get down to the destruction of corporate America.
Well, now that you put it that way, too, it is kind of cool to think that, okay, considering what we said earlier about how a lot of wrestling fans, especially in this time period, were just blue-collar American workers here in the South and the east side of the country and stuff, he got their asses in to watch this movie because they put Roddy Piper in it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, now listen, this movie's about you guys.
Yeah, you need to get this message because it's going to get to you soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you as the lower class people are the ones that need to see this the most. So I'm going to put somebody in this movie that gets you to come see it.
We're sending this message from the year 1999. That's from Prince of Darkness.
That's so cool. Now, you mentioned the fight.
The fight. Okay, so the fight. Yeah, I mean, it's the fight. Like, it's everybody who knows anything about the thing knows about an obscenely long wrestling match in the middle.
They live.
Oh, sorry, yeah. What did I say?
The thing.
The thing, sorry. There's an exceedingly long wrestling match in the middle of They Live between Keith David and Roddy Piper out on the streets.
And
just a backyard brawl.
The best.
It's great.
It's the best. It's like
very,
5.5 minutes long.
And it's very obviously choreographed by a professional wrestler.
Yeah. Him and Keith David really just worked this thing out and rehearsed it for like 3 weeks or something.
And it's a segment of a movie that has inspired some comedy with South Park. Yep. When they did the cripple fight. They basically just...
They did the whole thing.
Recreated it.
Yeah.
Also inspired the last match in Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Really?
He was super inspired by that and also invited Roddy Piper to the premiere.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And dude, that fight scene, okay. Is it ridiculous? Yes.
Yeah.
It's literally 5.5 minutes long of these two guys beating the shit out of each other. And there's all those over-the-top groin shots and stuff like this. But at the same time, if you think about it, it's not an unrealistic fight scene. There are no roundhouse kicks or flying karate chops.
It's actually the more realistic fight scene. Like, when people see it, they're thinking, like, oh, this is silly and campy. But then they watch, like, Kickboxer, and they're like, yeah, you just, like, beat up 15 dudes.
Yeah.
No, you have a long slog fight between two guys that are basically the same size. They're going to end up beating the shit out of each other, and it's going to take a long time.
Because that's the thing is, like, in real life fights, it isn't 5 minutes, again, of roundhouse kicks and fucking all this stuff. Like, it's a couple of guys beating the shit out of each other, being out of breath, getting up, starting to clock each other again, falling down, getting up, going at it some more.
If you see most real fights,
they go kind of like this.
If it's a fight where nobody's going to get involved, everybody's just going to let it happen, that's kind of how it always goes. It's two guys, unless one guy just gets lucky and knocks the other one out.
Yeah, it does a knockout or something.
And it usually is luck in those cases. We're not talking trained fighters. And these guys aren't trained fighters as far as we know. They just work construction.
Yeah.
Like, they're just big dudes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is how it would go.
And there's a few wrestling moves. There's like there's a suplex or two thrown in there.
There's a sidewalk slam in there for sure. Yeah.
How appropriate, a sidewalk slam on the asphalt. That works. I love that scene too where like he throws that 2x4 at the back glass of that car and like shatters the whole back windshield.
He's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, he kind of like seems to scare himself like, oh shit.
I didn't actually want to hurt you. Yeah.
Keith David goes to break that bottle and it breaks.
Yeah.
And Piper just like laughs at him. It's so genuine and realistic. It's so fun, man.
It's very good. And what I'll say is it's important that it lasts as long as it does, because what it's really about is Keith David has seen this guy that he trusts now become a murderer.
Yeah, he's on the loose.
And now he's seen him and sees that he's still the same guy he knows and realizes something must be up. Because I trust this guy and he doesn't seem to have gone crazy. Mm-hmm. But then he's telling me I got to put these glasses on. Whatever he's seen through these glasses could make me him.
Oh, wow.
And I need to keep my head down and not cause problems.
Oh, that is kind of in line with his character, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. That's pretty awesome, because you watch it and you're like, why don't you just put the glasses on? It's because he's scared of what he might see.
Yeah, because he does trust this guy. And so he knows if
he comes back to give him like a week's worth of pay and stuff like this.
I know, and also when he throws that money and it lands in the box, was that intentional or was that just like, what? Like they got it on the watch it again. He throws the money and it just goes whoop, right in the box.
Nothing but net.
I wonder if they meant to do that and had to do it a few times, or if he just did it and they were like, that's the take because it went in the box. But yeah, so what's happening is he's trying to. And if you watch The Pervert's Guide to Ideology, watch just the first 7 minutes with Slavoj Žižek talking about They Live. He gets into, what ideology is and what this fight is really about. But what I would say it's really about is wanting to maintain your comfort, knowing, because he tells us early on, he knows what this world is about and how shitty it is. He doesn't want to know more. Yeah. He just wants to survive it. He wants to get out of it and enjoy what little time he has.
Life's hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Much less of that knowing the truth about
exactly.
Wow.
So the fight is, I want to maintain my illusions. And the other guy being like, no, I think we can take these guys down.
I just noticed this beer is totally not as good when it's not fresh.
Isn't it?
No. Like the sip I just had, the aftertaste is kind of
a little skunk.
It's kind of sweaty tasting.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we had it last time, it had mellowed out a little bit. It was a little bit sweeter, but
that was at a sweet spot.
After a little bit, it's just kind of tangy and sweaty.
Yeah, it's okay, but
it's fine.
Definitely not as good as it used to be. One thing that I will say about this movie, I mean, obviously, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think that you guys could probably gather that from what we've been sitting here talking about. Yeah. I definitely enjoyed it, but I will say the pacing wasn't as great as I remembered. It's kind of an unevenly paced movie.
That's true, yeah. It's slow in the beginning and then kind of speeds up in the middle and then slows down again.
Well, the thing is it's urgent when it needs to be. Sometimes the cops are fucking chasing after him, and then he'll just go around a corner and it's now I can just walk and look around at stuff.
Yeah. He never even changes clothes and he's just walking around in the city where... Yeah. I assume the cops are looking for him. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sometimes there's a sense of urgency and pursuit and stuff. And other times it's just it doesn't really need to be that way right now. So it won't be.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of just kind of rowdy, sort of just walking around and putting his hands in his pockets and...
yeah, just being that guy.
Looking at stuff.
Look at me, looking at things.
The pacing, I think, is a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. So I would give that as a little bit of a knock against this movie. But the thing about it is that this is one of those flicks that I think what you need to keep in mind when you watch it is that this movie isn't about the story, it's about the message.
Yeah. Yeah, the story, I mean, this comes from a short story called...
Yeah, I didn't know it was a short story before.
Yeah, it was a short story, and then that short story was adapted into a comic, and both were used as inspiration, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning by Ray Nelson, and then it was adapted as a story in Alien Encounters comic anthology in April of 1986, and John Carpenter took from both of those sources and also added, basically the message that he had gotten back into watching TV, and he realized, he says here, I quickly realized that everything we see is designed to sell us something. It's all about wanting us to buy something. The only thing they want to do is take our money.
Wow.
So he put that anti-capitalist, anti-billionaire sort of message in there with this story. And I think, sometimes it's uneven because maybe he should have went a different direction from time to time with the story. maybe instead of having him kill 2 cops and then just walking around freely in LA, have him kill 2 like secret agents on the alien side. Like, because you kill 2 cops, everybody's going to know about it.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's going to see your face. Though they could have easily explained that away also by just having like a central command where the aliens are talking and one's like, we don't want to cause a scene. Like, don't arrest him in public because he could start spouting off what he knows. It might affect people. But again, they don't do that. So yeah, it's uneven and it's just like, ooh, where's this going? Yeah.
I love the way the aliens communicate and keep up with each other's on Rolexes, by the way. Like, that's their communication device, is their expensive ass watch.
Yeah, the communicator watch was like a big idea for like the 70s and 80s. Everybody wanted, and that's why, you know, Apple came up with their watch. I think it was always just this dream of techies.
A watch I can talk to.
But people were like, got one, better phone.
Yeah, the phone.
Yeah, it's got a watch on it. I don't even wear a watch. Who wears a watch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. So the thing about it is, though, is if you're watching this for like the story value of the point A to point B to point C, the 3-act kind of thing, it gets kind of muddled, especially towards the end of the movie. And there's other stuff that doesn't really make sense, like how they can just teleport in and walk into this banquet hall where there's like the whole, you know, the super elite.
Yeah, and they're just wearing their
regular clothes, and nobody even
clothes.
bats an eye. And
luckily, they run into their other hobo friend who shows them all around.
Yeah. And then also that's in the same area as the TV studio that they need to be in.
Yeah, and he, of course, can get them in because he's been one of them for, what, 2 days?
I guess so. Yeah, even though he's just some bum, they instantly handed him the keys to the whole kingdom. So some of that stuff gets a little like, wait, what now?
Yeah.
You know, where you're like, they teleported, they're underground, now they're at this banquet thing, now they're at the TV studio. It becomes like very Fever Dream-ish, where it's like they're just changing locations like crazy towards the end of the movie. But it would have been boring if they're like, we need to get to the TV studio, runs across town. Yeah. Like that would have gotten kind of boring. But it does get a little jumbled.
I get that people put together The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness as the Apocalypse trilogy. But I really wonder why they skip over this, because John Carpenter took H.P. Lovecraft references and he said that this is Lovecraftian at its essence, that like these creatures have always been here and are just returning. Like, this seems to me to go right in line with those movies and would serve as a good bridge between Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. But, you know, they just don't get put together. I wonder why. I mean, because the Apocalypse trilogy was just something that John Carpenter offhandedly kind of suggested and people went with.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if you reassess it, would you throw this in there with them? Like, it seems to have the same sort of idea that, like, humanity is being driven by this unknown force that is not just evil, it's just indifferent to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you the other thing that this has in common with H.P. Lovecraft.
What's that?
Is that it's awesome and also seems to attract anti-Semites.
Well, yeah, well, the reason H.P. Lovecraft attracted it is because he was anti-Semitic himself. But this, white supremacist neo-Nazis have tried to take this and say that it's about the Jewish people running the media.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter quickly shut that down and said very clearly, it's about yuppies and unrestrained capitalism.
But this is one of those ones that, like you said, neo-Nazis and stuff, they just take up and run with it.
You could easily see how a mass shooter could look at this and be like, that's what other mass shooters were doing. I didn't realize it. They were shooting the alien people.
And again, that's where it's like, maybe the violence in this movie made it a little bit more dangerous than it necessarily needed to be.
Right.
Because, I mean, Roddy Piper just gets the glasses and sees these people and immediately starts murdering them.
Yeah.
Just mowing them down.
He doesn't even know if those glasses... Like, what if they're just a novelty effect?
Yeah, exactly.
Glasses that sometimes make other people look wacky.
Yeah. And there's
make it impossible to read signs.
Oh, dude. And there's a high kill count in this movie, too.
He kills a lot of people in public, in mass shooting scenarios.
Yeah, in everyday locations and places like, you know, a fucking bank and stuff like that.
That is also, though, like, I love an 80s LA action movie. And that's 80s LA action movies. I mean, that's Lethal Weapon and
the action
Beverly
happening
Hills
on the
Cop
streets
and just fucking
like
shoot everybody, whatever.
Yeah. And I think this movie also owes a lot to other, let's say, sci-fi movies from the 50s and stuff that were really just about communists being among us, like Body Snatchers.
This takes it the other route and says, like, no. They use communist and they use terrorist as words to suppress, like, the truth. And the people who are in charge, the people who are the problem, the real invasion of the body snatchers, they're the uber capitalists. They're the ones who control everything. Because, again, always weird when you're worried about a minority of people taking over. Why don't you look at the majority of people who currently control things and say, do I like the way this is?
I mean, even just the word minority means not the most people.
Yeah, not the most. It's unlikely they're going to take over. Why are you so worried? Like, seriously, like, what is it? Hispanics, I believe, are at about 13% of the population at this point, making them, I believe, the largest minority in the country.
They're going to take over.
13%.
13%. Are you kidding me?
13%. Like, what do you mean they're going to take over? And what do you mean they're going to take over? Because they're predominantly Catholic. They predominantly agree with you on most of the issues. They vote against you because you vote to hurt them.
Yeah.
All you have to do, I hate to give this to the Republican Party in case they've never thought of it. All you have to do is go, you hate abortions? We hate abortions. Great. Let's help out your community and we'll get your votes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not wrong.
Idiots.
I came up with this thing the other day where I was thinking about, you remember how during the 80s we had this whole mass hysteria and panic and all that stuff about Satanism. The satanic panic, as it's called. Okay. I think here in the 2010s, we got ourselves the Hispanic panic.
The Hispanic panic. That's the proper way to put a humanitarian crisis involving concentration camps. That is what it is.
The Hispanic panic.
Hispanic panic, because people refuse to look at the roots of why people are seeking asylum. They refuse to look at the fact that seeking asylum isn't illegal. They refuse to look at the fact that parents and children are being separated, kept in cages, kept in the cold, not being fed, not getting showers. They refuse to look at all that because Hispanic panic. They're brown. I'm scared.
You should at least be self-centered enough to be like, they're making a whole generation of anti-American potential terrorists.
Yeah, they're creating terrorists at a southern border.
At least be selfish enough to be like, they might be creating people that are going to harm our country in a very bad way in the future. At least be selfish enough and just go with that.
Yeah, at least. Try to at least protect your own interests using your own stupid logic.
Exactly.
Yeah, put your own stupid logic to work. But that requires thinking, and they don't put that to work.
Hispanic panic. Trademark Dead and Lovely.
Trademark Dead and Lovely with a sad face at the end.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other just kind of window dressing in this. What do you think about the soundtrack going on in this flick?
It's Carpenter as hell.
Yeah.
He just starts out with boom, 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 boom.
And you got some harmonica and stuff going on over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. It fits the movie great to me.
L.A. I mean, like, he's so good at shooting cities. I love, like, Escape from New York, like, Big Trouble in Little China. He's just so good at shooting the city. He seems to know cities well.
And also knows when there shouldn't be soundtrack, too, where it's like during the fight scene, no soundtrack. It's just ambient city noise and the sound of, like, fist slapping flesh and bodies in concrete.
Just like in real life, you can kind of hear the horns and the stuff in the background a little bit more than you can hear the fight, because that's how it's louder. A fight's not that loud.
Dude, the back of Keith David's head is all like chewed up by the end of the fight too, where they've taken so many falls. And again, I know it's ridiculous, but it's an awesome fight scene.
It's great. It doesn't matter that it's ridiculous. I mean, sometimes things can be both funny, ridiculous, and meaningful, and still, like, matter. So, like, you can see something as... Here's my perfect example. The last episode of the last season of Always Sunny with Mac's, like, interpretive dance.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't? There's nothing funny about it.
Okay.
Always Sunny doesn't do that.
No.
They never do nothing funny about it. It's just serious. Amidst 13 seasons of ridiculousness, just a serious moment. it's maybe okay from time to time to have a ridiculous moment that is meaningful. Just like a serious moment can be specifically kind of ridiculous because it's out of context. Like, it doesn't fit within the scheme we've seen up to this point. We haven't seen a weird-ass wrestling match up to this point. We've seen a lot of stuff about real-life, terrible situations, and everything after is about, you know, the end of this dystopia. In the middle, can we just have a ridiculous moment that also means a lot?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the ending of this movie? At the end here, we get Rowdy blowing up the satellite that's transmitting the cloaking mechanism that the aliens are using. He shoots the bird at the camera.
So good.
He dies.
So good.
And then we have some shots of...
Just says, fuck it. And
yeah.
It's just such a perfect
fuck it.
action movie ending.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then after the cloaking mechanism is disabled, we get all these people like on the news and all that stuff, realizing that people among them.
My favorite is the guy who's sitting in the bar that is one of the aliens.
Yeah.
He's just staring at the screen, kind of like, oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's great. And then, like I said, the guy that's like boning the chick at the end.
Yeah. They just threw boobs in at the end.
Yeah, just because.
I guess, yeah. I imagine that. I imagine Carpenter was like, throw him in.
I love that he even made fucking... It seemed like Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert.
Part of this.
They were part of it, yeah.
Talking about all these vulgar directors.
John Carpenter and George Romero, yeah.
Yeah, which I love that he just put George in there too.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of silly. The ending of this is kind of silly, but I think that's okay.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, man. I'm fine with it.
Because I think it really hits the high when Holly is basically saying, I prefer this world to having to struggle in a different world.
Was she in on it the whole time or not?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah?
I don't think she was in on it the whole time. I thought about that like the first couple times I watched it here recently, and then when I watched it right before I came here, it really does seem like if she were in on it, when they exploded that wall when she came in to the...
Oh, I love that. That's so out of nowhere.
She's the closest one to the wall. Like,
okay, all right.
They basically almost killed her.
You're saying she would have known the raid was coming and fucked off before.
Right.
Hey, you might not be wrong. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, her kind of twist where she just sort of like shoots Keith David out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the moment where
weird.
You make your last message that some of you are going to try to hang on to this because you are comfortable, and some of you are going to say fuck it and say let's blow this up.
This is an awesome movie.
It's great.
This is an awesome movie. It's one that I've wanted to do since I saw it. So whenever this got picked as part of the Patreon.
Yeah, it was John Latour's suggestion.
Right? Oh, John, dude, sick. Yeah. Way to not let us down.
I believe it got the most votes when we did the vote too. So people wanted us to talk about this.
Nice, man.
Which means if anybody out there responds to this by saying they got too political, our core wants to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you thought that was too political.
We'll
That's what people want to hear.
A 100% refund on what you spent to listen to this podcast. So there you go. What do you think about this flick? What's your final thoughts and ratings on this sumbitch, Steve?
It's high up there for me because of the message, and I really do like just the way it's shot, the way it's acted. I like the silliness to it along with the very serious message. I think it is a sugar coating of a message trying to sell it to rural America.
The people that need to hear it.
And let them know, like, you got to vote for your interests. And they're like, I don't wanna. You can't tell me what to do. Stars and bars.
That rich feller might give me some of his money.
All right.
He won't.
I just want to sum up, just to sum up real quick, the mentality of the person who maybe thinks the government should stay out of their business. I saw today at the doctor a person with a license plate that had the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Now I want you to think about this. That's the flag of the libertarian, right?
Okay, yes.
So a libertarian walked into a government office and paid them more money
than usual
for a tag to represent that they want to get rid.
I want to show the world I don't approve of this.
Yeah.
By paying you more money.
Yeah. So
oh man, it all falls apart so fast.
He was really fighting an uphill battle And the fact that he threw in the wacky, the silliness, that he picked Roddy Piper, who he could have picked Hulk Hogan, maybe. He could have picked another bigger wrestler who wouldn't have been as good of an actor. But picking Roddy Piper knowing he would reach the right audience, hopefully. That, like...
Pro move.
Like, the thing is, like, people think about the South and they think of it as a monolith. Just like, you know, racists think of black people as a monolith or, you know, whatever. Like, you look at the South and you think dumb people. Mm-hmm. Well, we're from the South. I like to think we're not dumb.
We're not just talking shit or anything.
Yeah, we're really from here.
Oh, I know plenty of extremely intelligent people from down here.
Trey Crowder, Drew Morgan, Corey Forrester. Mm-hmm. I can name any number of comedians. Brent Terhune, who's from Missouri, which was the South basically. Any number of smart, intelligent comedians who will come at you from a very liberal perspective, who grew up in this area. This movie was for us. This movie was to sugarcoat it so our parents wouldn't care that we were being sold an anti-capitalist message. John Carpenter's from Kentucky. He understands who he's selling to.
I hadn't considered that, yeah.
It's fine if you watch this from another country or another part of this country. Just, you watched it and you just thought it was corny and cheesy or whatever. But I think that what it does with its message and its presentation was so important for some of us that it for me is a 9 easily.
Yeah. I can completely level with that. Because again, like, to me, if you're watching this movie in terms of story, if you're just watching this movie for a literal storyline progression, it gets kind of muddy, especially towards the end. But it's not really about that. This movie is just 100% about the message. Mm-hmm. You know, the fact that it had to have a storyline to convey the message is kind of an afterthought, if anything. You know, I think the whole movie was a stunt to get people to get in there to learn this message.
Yeah.
Like I said, hiring a wrestler to be the main character.
Yeah.
I think it's all just a stunt to get people in here to watch this movie and learn this message and hopefully start thinking for themselves a little bit, you know? It's a really fun watch. It's got some like funny, very quotable lines. Man. Oh yeah, you got to put on these glasses, start eating that trash can.
Mama don't like no tattletale.
Oh my God, life's a bitch and she's back in heat. I ain't daddy's little boy no more.
I ain't daddy's little boy no more.
Yeah, the whole like him having this abusive past thing was all just kind of an afterthought. Like that
it seemed like it. Yeah,
came back just kind of needless character development. Might have been just stretching for time. I mean, the movie's only an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's a pretty short flick.
Yeah,
and
it really like they drag out the credits. I think it was like 6 minutes of credits. So
wow, really?
Yeah,
I can't say that it's perfect. But I think just for the message alone, and also just that imagery, man, the black and white stuff to me
so good.
Is so iconic. That grocery store to me is phenomenally iconic.
I would love to have one of those magazines.
Oh, I know, right?
You flip through, just fucking awesome.
Oh, they're so cool. And the thing is you're watching that going, an art department had to make all that stuff. Like every can in that supermarket has a label on it. That was printed. And every one of those magazines, everything.
Like, I wrote down about 20 things that I saw written down, but I didn't write down everything. Like, each one of those magazines has different stuff, those cans and labels. Like, they probably have about 40 or so sayings, but that's a fucking lot to come up with.
Yeah.
And then make all those labels, the magazines and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And knowing, of course, that it wasn't CGI.
Yeah, none of it.
They did that just to make this scene in this movie. I love that stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna rock this on a solid. You know, I think I'm gonna say an 8.
8.
I'm gonna say an ocho
for
this one. Really cool flick. Again, when you watch it, don't watch it for the story. Watch it for the message.
Sure.
And you'll, I think, get a lot more out of it and enjoy it more than if you're watching it for a story. It's also barely a horror movie. I mean, is it horror?
Oh yeah. Well, I would say in 1988 this was a dystopian sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it seems more like that.
2019, this is a horror movie.
Yeah. Social horror movie. Awesome, man. Well, I'll tell you what, this was a whole lot of fun to do this one, and as you already said, next week we are doing spoilers. It's going to be a fucking 10 from both of us, I'm sure. One of the greatest heavyweight champs of all time, also in that sci-fi horror range.
Yeah.
We're talking about a Ridley Scott Alien.
Yeah, Kalani suggested this one, and
Kalani, my man.
It got the votes, so I'm glad we're doing it.
Hell,
I mean, like,
yes.
We just have this like backlog of all these awesome movies we can do, and it's hard to choose. It's nice that you guys picked this one for us.
Yeah, it's nice that you guys are taking the wheel just like Jesus does sometimes. Jesus, take the wheel. Oh my God, did I ever tell you the story about whenever Andy Wood and I were on that flight with that woman? Oh my God, dude. I hope everybody hasn't tuned the podcast off. This is amazing. Dude, the last time that Andy and I flew out to LA.
Yeah.
We got on our flight. We've been flying all day and shit. It was butt crack of dawn or whatever. Mm-hmm. We get on this flight where, of course, we're not first class. We're sitting in the middle of the plane and stuff. And how there's like that dividing wall?
Yes.
Okay, so there was the dividing wall. There was the first row of seats, and then there was the row of seats that Andy and I were on, right?
Uh-huh.
We sit down, we take our seats, and there's this chick in front of us that sits down, and she has a crying, screaming ass baby, right? Of course. And like, baby immediately just goes to wailing. Again, she's sitting on the side that's facing that dividing wall.
Hurts like hell.
Yeah, and we're just on the runway at that point, and it's like, oh my God, this is how this is starting. Mm-hmm. And we were just looking forward to getting some sleep and stuff on the plane. This baby screaming, crying. And Andy and I kind of side-eye each other. We're like, oh my God, it's going to be this the whole way up. And then the mother of this baby, she was like 20-something, she starts trying to calm the baby down. She goes, Jesus, take the wheel. Starts singing, take it from me. And then we're like, oh my God, this is going to be the worst flight ever. So as the flight gets closer to taking off, a flight attendant is coming through. Yeah. And she's kind of asking the people around us, she's like, do we have anybody that's not part of a group? Are you guys flying together? Are you flying together? Do we have any solo riders, basically? Just like what they do for the roller coasters. And of course, Andy and I, like, no, we're riding together. And we finally come to find out the reason why is because apparently they won't let people that are flying with an infant sit on the row of seats that's in front of that dividing wall.
Right.
Because there's like an airbag device and shit like this in case of, a crash or anything like that. And so they find somebody who's a single rider. They go up here to this mom with this screaming ass baby, right? And they're like, ma'am, before we depart, we've got to ask you to move to another seat. We've already found somebody who's willing to switch with you. It's no problem. We've already got this taken care of, but we need you to move to this aisle. Mm-hmm. But I paid extra so I could have extra leg room because I'm here at the front. Mm-hmm. The stewardess is like explaining, well, but it's a safety reason, man, because if you're sitting in that seat against the dividing wall, there's an airbag device.
Right.
And that could harm the child and stuff like that if in the event of a crash or unexpected landing or whatever.
Did she make the point I would make, which is in the event of a crash, I don't think the baby's gonna matter.
Dude, the baby mama goes, I mean, if we're crashing anyway, then
I'm with her. What's gonna because there's no way to buckle the baby in. So if you crash, that baby's going flying no matter where you are.
Dude, she wasn't wrong.
No,
she wasn't wrong.
No,
I'll give her that.
But they do have to cover their own ass for liability. Sure.
It was hysterical to hear. I mean, if we're crashing, then
I'm with her. I like seriously. Right, you're correct, man.
At that point, Jesus take the wheel.
Jesus take the wheel. Like if Jesus wants to catch her and stop this baby, fine.
Jesus catch the baby is what I'm saying. Jesus catch the baby. Take it from my hand. It was a magical moment. I'll tell you that.
This magic moment.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Drab and Lagley. You guys be sure to go on iTunes, rate and review. We've got a couple of reviews trickling up on there, but the more the merrier. We need more. I want more. I'm a capitalist. I want more. Give us more reviews. Seriously. Yeah. If you want to do something to help the show out, that's a pretty damn good start. Another great thing you could do is check out that Patreon page.
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com.
/dead and lovely.
Give us
we've had
money.
We've had some more contributions recently. We'll have some shout outs next week. But patreon.com /dead and lovely. We got 3 tiers there. If you join in the $5 tier, you can suggest a movie. We're going to have a drawing here at the beginning of August.
Yeah.
To decide what our movie in the second week of August will be. So just get at us. Give us some of that money. Choose what we watch.
If you donate $5, you can kick Jesus out that wheel, get him in the passenger seat, and say, I'm manning this vehicle, sir.
Jesus, take the engine. Drive me where I'm going.
Exactly
I'm
right.
just going to take a nap.
Let's y'all take the wheel. So be sure to check out that Patreon page. Where can they follow us on social Medina?
At Dead Lovely Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast group on Facebook. We got a Discord if you want to figure it out. You can either email us about it or you can check the Facebook archive where I posted the Discord.
Yeah, you can do it. We believe in you. You guys be sure to tune in next week for our basic just gushing wank fest about Ridley Scott's Alien.
There'll be more than just gushing and wanking. They'll also be talking about what a genius that everybody involved in it was.
Oh my god, I love Alien.
Oh, and also
so
talking
much.
about H.R. Giger.
Oh yeah,
that'll be fun.
He's the Gigerist.
The Gigerist.
Yeah, of all the people I know, he's the Gigerist. No doubt. Well, you guys have been fantastic. We have been Uncle Ben,
Hollywood Steve,
and we've been Dead and Lovely. We'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye now.
I am out of here. I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
Won't you do some stuff with me tonight?
I had that song in my head the entire time that I was driving to my doctor.
Look at you.
And then, like, I saw the nurse, and then I saw a student, because where my doctor is UT Hospital. It's also a research school, so a lot of times you'll see students, and then you see the actual doctor.
Okay, yeah.
And that 2 tickets to paradise, just that part had been in my head, and then, like, the student guy walked out, and then I'd been in there for like 20 minutes waiting, and then I just started going, waiting so long. And then I was like, what is that from? Why is that in my head? All right, 2 tickets to paradise.
Dude, there was some point years and years ago where Eddie Money licensed that song out to some, like, it was like an airline or a travel agency or something.
Yeah,
have you seen the commercial for that?
I got 2 tickets to paradise.
Like, he sounds
what happened to him?
He sounds like he had like 10 strokes.
Must have.
Oh, it's
but why
so
did they
funny.
insist on having him in the commercial?
Just use the actual song
Yeah.
and call it a day.
Poor guy. Eddie Money.
2 tickets to paradise.